The definition of hustle is waking up every morning, understanding what you're passionate about, and using that to motivate you to get the job done. It's all about creating relationships through marketing and creating content that provides value. And it's more about being yourself and being genuine to your audience than, you know, trying to push products. When you're documenting your life, you are creating. Break the mindset of the 9 to 5 to get to that. I went to a sales job where I was working about 80 hours a week and I was making 6 figures, but if you really break down hourly how much you were making, it's like less than $20. There's different avenues as opposed to working 80 hours a week. Hustling can mean finding the right people that can help open the doors for you so you don't have to work 80 hours a week. But I use those systems now that create momentum for me and create a flow that allows me to have this freedom of time. And you know, it's very easy to do. You know, the internet is full of opportunities for you to use to, you know, as virtual assistants, anything like that. You can get projects done, you know, within 24 hours.
Most of the people that I work with already have it inside them. It's just a matter, you know, of me showing the world exactly what they can do, and then they run with it.
Just do it. Get out there. Just start documenting every single day what you're doing, and you know, that's marketing these days, and that's how the business comes to you. So what we do is we provide way more than we should probably value to our audience, and then in turn they come to us and bring referrals. That's the way marketing's going. Overvalue, and the rest will come to you.
Marketing and sales, it's about creating relationships and not creating customers
100%.
or clients. There's no good time to quit your job. There's no good time. The longer you wait, the more pressure is going to get build up, and the harder it's going to be.
Yeah.
If you've got a business idea, you know, there's going to be no better time than right now to get that off the ground. But you got a business idea, you're under 30, you're under 40, you're under 50, each day you're getting older. Do it now. Jump in. Get your financials in order first.
Absolutely.
Don't throw away your freaking house, but jump in and do it now.
And welcome to another edition of The Gloves Are Off, and we are live, and my special guest needs no introduction because you just watched him. So we have in studio Andrew Perry, who is the number 2 in real estate for social media.
Yeah. Actually, I had a meeting with the number 1, Amy. She's amazing.
Okay. So you're number 2 in social media marketing for real estate. You also have SIOS, which is what we just watched, which is creating your own success. Correct?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are,
okay,
and what you do.
Well, you know what? Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.
First, you know, very excited to be here and kind of share my story with everybody. You know what? I've got a couple businesses under my belt now. I've got a marketing company that's the whole creed is based on helping small businesses, realtors, salespeople just kind of develop their brand and their presence online, and just kind of, you know, marketing's expensive these days, right?
Yeah.
And so I just want to help them create their own success by, you know, just teaching them the very basic tools that people need to run their social media.
Now, I've seen too, like, as the show progresses today, we're going to run a few of his masterpieces and how he markets himself. So we're going to give you a little bit of plugs for your current listings.
Well, would you look at that? That's amazing.
But your marketing is amazing, and I was just watching in the intro that we put on for you. You do everything. Like, I see you with the boxing on, with your suit and everything like that. Where do you get your inspiration for this stuff? Like, I mean, you just literally come out of your shell and
you know what? It's a funny question, and it's hard to explain to people sometimes because the ideas just come to me.
Okay.
And usually it's between that time where I want to go to bed and I can't sleep.
Okay.
It's right as I lie down, and then next thing you know, I'm texting myself all the different ideas at 2 in the morning. And I don't know, you know, I think it's a lot of watching other people. So I'm not saying that I'm the most creative person in the world.
Yeah.
Because I believe that I'm taking it all in from everything that I'm experiencing from realtors from Europe, in the States. So I'm definitely not a standalone guy there, but I think that's where I get most of my inspiration.
So we're like, I mean, the younger Andrew Perry, were you the class clown? Were you the one that like hung out? Because that was the first thing I thought of. Like, this guy must have been fun in school.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny because I had every year I have a golf tournament with my best friends for my birthday.
Okay.
Just so happens we did ours last weekend.
and we were talking about grade 12 grad. Whereas me and my best friend Luke were up for the class clown and most outgoing.
Yeah.
And I remember I gave him, I can't remember what I said, but I did a funny little speech, and actually I ended up winning both of those awards. And I don't know why. I thought I was a pretty nice student, but I guess I disrupted a lot of the class.
Well, disruption today pays off, right?
Yeah, I'm very happy about where I am now, and I'm happy that all the people that I've met along the way, including the teachers, allowed me to be myself. So I think as a kid, I had a lot of influence from the people around me.
For sure. So when you were younger, did you want to go in the direction that you're in now, or how did that turn out?
Well, you know what? I think what I really wanted to do as a kid is, regardless if it was music or if it was acting, I wanted to be famous. So I think that's kind of where I like to go with my videos. Mm-hmm. I would love for people to, experience what I have to offer and get into that 100,000 views, million views. And, I always kind of wanted to be successful, but I always thought it would be from some form in the public eye.
Okay.
And then now it's kind of on the business side, but I'm trying to merge, that famous quality of a celebrityism almost to what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
How long have you been in real estate?
I've been in real estate now. Honestly, I got my license in December, but it was around Christmas time, so I didn't really practice until about January.
Okay, of this year?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you're number 2, I was going to say number 1, that's coming. Number
number
2
one's
in
coming
social
in.
Media marketing for realtors in
Yeah, I mean, it was a blog by MoveSnap. They accredited me that distinguished title, and I really appreciate it. And you know what? I think it's just because I'm doing something, I'm putting myself in front of people every day, all day. That's the goal. So if I annoy some people, I've got 10 people
They're
that
still going to be talking
do
about you, though,
appreciate
even if you do annoy them, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I guess bad press is good press.
It's true. So what did you do previous to being a realtor?
So I was leading up to right when I became a realtor.
Yeah.
I was running a sales team for a company called LA Fitness out in Edmonton.
Okay.
So I was almost like a district developer, helping all the new staff, sales training and thought leadership, things like that. And it just came to a point where I wanted to work for myself. Let's just say that.
Okay. And were you just like doing the process for LA Fitness? Were you the same type of charismatic, like really getting out there, different type of person?
Yeah, so that's the thing. We had some restrictions on what we were able to do on the online world.
Sure.
But when we're out, coming up with creative ideas for events or exposure, I really ran with that. Like, I got us a booth in Comic-Con. I got us a booth in all these random places where you wouldn't expect to see a gym booth.
Yeah.
But I think that's a great thing about it, because you never know who you're going to meet along the way.
It's true. Did you take any training? Did you go to school for that, or is this something that's just a natural thing?
No. I didn't go to school for any of that kind of stuff. I went to school for golf, actually.
For golf?
Yeah.
So yeah. I'm not playing golf with you, man.
Yeah, you know what? I'm still not that good, but.
Oh, okay. So you went to school for golf. So you actually went to school to play professionally. Is that why? Or?
Well, technically, it was a golf and sports club management. So the business side of golf courses, things like that. Yeah. Spas, gyms.
And I'm seeing, like, going back to what you're currently doing with your real estate and stuff like that, the way you're doing things is really unique. We're going to run one very soon of you're in the what do you call it? The
apron?
The apron, thank you. I couldn't remember what it's called. The apron. I mean, you dress the part, you do the part.
Thanks.
Really, really like that. That's really unique. What gave you the inspiration to do that?
Well, you know what? I think I saw a gap. I saw a hole in the industry.
Okay.
There's a lot, especially where we were. There's a lot of people doing videos where I am right now, but at the same time, it's very safe. Mm-hmm. It's very safe, and I think realtors, as a profession, they don't want to break the mold of not being safe, because you got to remember, people are entrusting you with the largest financial decision of their lives.
Yeah.
So they want somebody who's going to, not stray off the line too far, and make sure that they complete the deal with no troubles. Where I can do that for you, but I'm going to have some fun with it, and I'm going to get your home marketed and exposed to the most people possible. And I think that's where the industry is shifting, and I'm glad that I have played a part in it.
That's impressive.
But the apron idea just came to me. You know, I was sitting there. There was a brand new barbecue, and we are doing a listing video. So I grabbed an apron, grabbed the tongs, and pretended to flip burgers.
Well, I loved the best part you said too. I'm gonna skip the realtor lingo, and I'm just gonna go with the big boy lingo.
Yeah. Well, I think that's just kind of who I am. I mean, I'm not. We're gonna have a genuine conversation. And it's not going to be any of that BS or that sales style of a conversation. I think it's just two people. Let's figure this out. Let's make it a quick and successful transaction, and we can spare the old school talk. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Yeah.
Have you been ridiculed yet for anything you're doing?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Because I do a lot of work inter-brokeragely, so I help out other agents with their social media, with their video marketing, and they're not working for the same brokerage. So there's some people that have separate or differing opinions, let's say, on helping out other people. But I'm a true believer if, listen, we're all in this thing called life together. Mm-hmm. If I have valuable information that you can use, I'm going to give it to you.
And I think a lot of people, too, the old saying that everything you want is on the other side of your comfort zone. And a lot of people always worry about what people think. They always worry about if they do something different. Oh my God, what? And sometimes we deal with this here in the office too, is because we come up with some crazy things, or even myself, I'll get warned from some of the girls in the office, and they're like, oh, "You better not say that, because it could do this." And I'm like, "No, but transparency." Chelsea's laughing. Transparency is a big thing, and I think you really push that out in your marketing.
Well, you know what? I think, man, I just never played it safe ever. And I'm not going to lie to you. There's been a few videos where I circle the publish button. I'm like, should I do this? Should I do this? And then in the end, it's like, whatever. They always end up, having a good response especially with other realtors, on the online world. And then, the clients are really appreciating it as well because it's something different. They're seeing the exposure of their house go through the roof. So I think all in all, people are just a little bit scared to do what makes them uncomfortable. But I think if you just break outside that, and you'll see that the results are quite advantageous.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break. We're like seconds away. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Hi, welcome to 6495 Pitton Road in Niagara Falls. My name is Andrew Perry, sales representative with Royal LePage Niagara Real Estate Center, and we're cooking on the barbecue, so come on back. I can use a lot of realtor lingo to describe this home. I could say it's super spacious. I could say it's absolutely luxurious. I could even say it's unbelievably fantastic. But I think I'll use my big boy words. This house is frickin' awesome. I'm standing in the backyard of my new listing, 6495 Pitton Road in Niagara Falls. I'm standing under the covered pergola, which is perfect for entertaining no matter what the weather. But if you're like me, this backyard is private. You can sit down and enjoy your own time. Or the neighborhoods are so safe you can sit here and listen to the sweet, innocent children's laughter as they play in the park across the street. Just like the old days, remember that? Well, if you've got kids who like to play Xbox and stay inside, we've got the perfect basement for you. We've got an upgraded kitchen, updated bathroom, and a large living room with a premium fireplace. But don't take my word for it. Let's go have a look.
You've been so good to me. Give you anything. You've been so good to me. Your love inside me. You're my consolation. Oh, baby.
Thank you very much for joining me for dinner tonight. I wish I could stay here all night, but I gotta go home. If you want to come and see this home, give me a call. 905-380-6702.
Every sky, long as you're loving me.
And we're back. If you're just tuning in, you're live with Real Talk with myself, Grant Browning, and it is the show on business and success. We do the dreams, the struggles, the victories, the how-tos. And what you just saw right now is Andrew Perry's one of his videos that he put out for his client, which I think is very unique. You're
Thank you.
very into imaging and marketing. So what is some of the importance for branding as a realtor?
The important thing is definitely consistency.
Okay.
I bounce up a lot with emotional videos, humorous videos, but I like to keep my content coming out consistently. And I think if you have the ability to get in front of as many people as possible, it's through posting every day, even
Yes.
multiple times a day. You don't want to be annoying, but if you're offering value to your audience to keep them engaged, they're not going to have any issues. And
For
I
sure.
think that's important. Find out what your audience is, what your audience likes, and just roll with it. Start just publishing content.
And we're in
documenting
such a
everything.
changing time where people used to think, oh my God, if you put too much out, that you're going to lose followers. What's some of your thoughts on that?
Well, that's the thing. We kind of touched on it earlier. So I think what's important here is, are you going to sacrifice the 5% to gain the 95? So I think with people getting annoyed, you're going to flush those people off because they're not engaged with your content anyways. So what you want to do is replace them with people who are going to be engaged. And then that way your numbers go up, the views counts go up, the engagement goes up, the comments, the shareability, everything. So don't worry about losing that 5%.
That 5% is probably your family and friends.
Exactly.
Anyways,
It's most of my friends from home. Absolutely.
Yeah, who aren't interested in what you're doing anyways, and they think, talking from experience.
Yeah, me too. No, I completely agree.
So branding, give us some ideas of what's important about branding.
I think authenticity is the biggest thing.
Okay.
And I think that's why I'm so transparent, is because I'm not saying anything about anybody who gets awards. I'm not saying that. But creating content that suggests that you're the best at what you do based on last year's stats or something like that, I don't believe in that. I believe that the clients, they want to see what can you do for them. How can you do it? Not necessarily what can you do. So I think creating content that A, gives value, B, shows the true you, and just be authentic. And I think that's the way that, well, that's a reason why I've been so successful, so I believe.
So what about like the realtors or the business owners that will say stuff, or we'll leave it as stuff, but say things like, I can't afford it, I don't have time, I can't do marketing, I don't have the budget. What are some of the things that you can actually say to that?
Well, actually, I do a lot of teaching on video marketing and social media and stuff like that. And one of the biggest things that I hand out first is a checklist, my own personal equipment checklist. So there's an amateur, there's a pro, and there's a superstar. The superstar is to just hire somebody. If you got the money, hire somebody, a videographer, a huge team, and get it done that way. But to save on costs, all you need here, you know what? I'm actually filming right now. I bring my camera everywhere. So, wave to the camera. Hi, hello. This tripod was $13.
Okay.
This camera, you don't actually need to go this far. This camera is $1,000, but I use. Look at this. I can attach my cell phone that most of us should already have.
One, yeah.
And there you go. You've just set up your own video marketing studio for $14.
And then the people that actually. Oh.
Hey!
And the people that actually say, well, I'm afraid to be on camera.
Too bad. Too bad you're in sales. You're representing your clients every day as a realtor. Too bad. Put yourself out there. I know it's scary, but, you know, I've worked with a lot of people, you know, 50s, 60s, male, female, and, you know, there's a lot of uncomfortableness. I don't even know if that's a word, but
you get past it, too.
You get
it's
past
like
it
anything.
after, you know, first video, second video, you're over it.
And you have to be willing to laugh at yourself. Like this morning,
absolutely.
I was doing an Instagram story and just shooting stuff while I'm driving, and all of a sudden I realized, holy smokes! Sorry, I'll eliminate the driving part. But holy smokes! What happened was I threw in a B12 tablet that you're supposed to put under your tongue and let it go, and I just forgot about it and started talking. The whole side of my mouth looked like it was bleeding, and I just started laughing because I'm like, oh well, it's no big deal. Transparency is a big thing, right? And being able to laugh at yourself, because I just literally went and did another video and said, hey guys, like, you know, I just realized that the whole time I was doing it, I realized that I looked like I was bleeding out of the mouth, kind of thing. Don't worry, it was just a tablet. It was just a supplement that I take in the morning, right? So I mean, I think people really need to understand that in order to build your brand in this day and age, you have to be able to stand out from the noise. You have to be able to get in front of people, and you have to be able to show people what's different about you versus everybody else.
Absolutely. And I think if you go through my videos, you'll see that pretty much every single video I've screwed up something, or I didn't articulate myself well, or I've said the completely wrong word.
Yeah.
And by that time, you know, by the time you realize it, you know, and it's in editing, you're like, whatever. Like, you know, that's the good thing about being a realtor and being in video marketing, is that you're just a normal person. Everybody knows you as a normal person. You're not like this huge CEO or a celebrity, you know what I mean? So your expectations are a little bit lower, but I think that adds a little bit, you know, authenticity, as I said before.
But the thing too is if you look at some of the big gurus that are out there now, or the big people that are really dominating the market in video and social media, you'll see and learn to appreciate their authenticity. They screw up. The first advice that they give is don't be afraid. Just do it. I mean, when we first transitioned from radio into the network, I remember every single host that transitioned from the radio to the network were paranoid because now the camera got bigger and you could see yourself on the monitor in front of you, and it was just this thing. But being able to screw up, I think, is and laugh at it is probably one of the biggest things to get past, and then you're fine.
Yeah, well, you know what? I see a lot of realtors now actually putting blooper reels into their listing videos, which I think is hilarious. And again, it shows that you know, that we're all just human. We all make mistakes, and I think that also. You know, helps the people that may not want to do it. They see that, and you know, maybe they can get a little bit motivated to get out there and do it themselves. Because we all screw up. You know, it's half the time. You know, most of this camera goes out of focus a lot of the time, right? And you just got to deal with it. You move on. Who cares?
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is that at least you're doing something versus the person that's trying to critique it and critique themselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are the Facebook warriors that you know, try to correct your spelling when
trolls.
you type, trolls. There you go.
So, what's your idea? Like your because I know you do a lot of coaching and stuff like that with branding. So, you know, aside of video, what are some of the avenues that the average business owner, realtor can actually get out and do that can help themselves in branding?
Well, I think it's important to, you know, anything that you do, at least try to brand it in some way that's consistent with what you're offering. So if you look at my page, my personal page, I do a lot of listings, solds, and then my family. And I think that's that's branding in itself. So you got to remember, once you're in sales, you don't have a personal page anymore.
Yes.
You have two business pages, your business page and your business page. And I think just from people seeing you react to situations and your own family and your own business, that's how branding is working. So I get when I first released my new video where I was hopping out of a plane and going into a Tesla, I had a lot of people contact me and say, Andrew, I feel like I know you so well through your Facebook. You're a family man. You've branded yourself this way, but when this video came out, I didn't think it was you. So it just goes to show you how important subtle branding is, and that's all through your personal page or business page number 2.
And what people don't realize too, tagging on to that, is your personal page. If you're in business, you've already branded yourself. So
Absolutely.
if you're a complainer or if you share negative stuff, you're branded as that type of person. That's what people realize who you are.
Absolutely.
Or if you're sharing, one of the key things that I try and explain to people too is that you would never go through a mall and literally slap bumper stickers on people's foreheads. It wouldn't work. And I find a lot of people, what they do is they go from one extreme to another. And you were just mentioning about posting your listings and stuff like that. Sometimes that's all they do is post what they do. And it's so impersonal that people don't get to know who the real you is. And they get turned off, and that's how you lose everybody.
Yeah, and I think one of the most important things about branding is you got to understand that you're on somebody's personal Facebook.
Yes.
Regardless of how you got there, that's where you are. And I think it's important to not be salesy. Create relationships and not customers. Put yourself out there in a personal way that's obviously not in a negative or political connotations, and just kind of, show the real you.
And understand
people
the
don't want to see
terminology
your
share.
listings all the time.
Right.
So throw in testimonials, throw in that emotional connection with you and your family, you and your clients. And I think if once you start understanding that you're on somebody's personal page now, I think your mindset will start changing.
Also, engage. Engage is really important, because if you're just constantly throwing content out, if you're just constantly just spewing stuff at people, but you're not engaging and talking with people, and people realize you're a real person, it's another negative. It doesn't
absolutely.
work. Right?
That's why anybody who's went out of their way to comment on anything that I have on Facebook, I go out of my way to send them a message through comments or even a personal message saying thank you.
Which is actually how we got connected.
I mean, it doesn't have to be disingenuous, like, oh, thank you very much, thank you. It doesn't have to be like that. It could be, something, I try to do something a little bit different for each comment. And I think people really appreciate that because, like I said, if they're going to take time to engage with you, you should be engaging with them.
Awesome. So if you guys are just tuning in, you're with Real Talk. Sorry, the gloves are off. And we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back.
Discover the incredible India.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Welcome to 166 Queen Street in the heart of Old Town Niagara-on-the-Lake. If you're looking for a primary residence or an investment opportunity, this home is a must-see. This stunning home has a history that dates back to 1910. While tastefully updated, it still retains the charm and elegance of the original manor house. Niagara-on-the-Lake has so much to offer. 5-star restaurants, incredible wineries, art galleries, spas, golf courses. The lake is literally right there for paddleboarding, kayaking, sailing, you name it. This is your playground. The backyard of 166 Queen Street is truly an oasis. With a 20 by 40 saltwater pool, volleyball court, and expansive mature landscape grounds, there is no need to battle traffic up north to find an escape. The updated kitchen is chef-ready. Off the kitchen is a formal study. The room offers elegant built-in shelving and a working fireplace. If you are looking for a landmark property or a brilliant investment opportunity, look no further than 166 Queen Street in the heart of Niagara-on-the-Lake.
If you're just tuning in, you're tuned into Real Talk, and you just saw another one of your masterpieces. We're here with Andrew Perry. Sorry.
Perry.
Wow.
I know. I get
Blooper
Pierre,
live.
I get Pierre all the
I was going to say
time.
Pierce for some reason. I'm so sorry. I just like brain freeze. I was, and your name actually came up on the monitor too. So why don't you tell us a bit about the importance of getting a realtor that first off knows what he's doing in marketing these days? Because I mean, this is a plus. You spent the money into actually getting a You were just saying that it was an HBO director did that?
Yeah.
Wow.
From VR Listings in Toronto. And I think the important thing is to know what you're good at. I'm good at quick cut video. I'm good at coming up with the ideas, but I'm not the best videographer.
Okay.
So it's all about self-awareness. Know what you're good at and leave the rest to the pros.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
a property like that, a $3 million home, the marketing cost was in and around $3,000, and that's a representation of that house. I knew that I couldn't do what I wanted to do with just myself.
Mm-hmm.
So that's important. Once you can realize what you can and what you can't do, that's how you provide the best service to your clients.
So investing in your brand too, because I mean, it's really important that to push out here what you're doing. You're really investing in your brand and in the customer itself, because you're putting the time and the money into it by getting videographers to come in, by filming, by putting these videos together to give that added benefit versus a regular realtor who might just put a listing up and share the listing and say, you got to see this house. Yeah. Why don't you talk about the difference between that?
Well, you know what? Even a lot of realtors now, pretty much every single one of them, they are doing some sort of video listing.
Yeah, but a lot of them are Snapchat videos or whatever.
Well,
right?
You know what? Hey, whatever gets them started.
For sure.
But I think the difference between what I do and what the average realtor may do is just I put a lot of passion in it, and I want to show the home to buyers and connect the two in a different way. Because if you have that slideshow style of a video, you're just kind of, oh, that's nice, oh, that's great, cool. Maybe
There's no emotion to it.
There's no emotion to it. So I have one listing video where I brought the son of the owner in, and I'm playing basketball with him, and I mean I'm dunking on him, but it's one of those things where the audience really connected with that, and we had a lot of fun shooting it, and I think if you can connect with the audience on an emotional level, you have that higher percentage of converting them into a sale.
And you really got a storyboard put together with it,
and
too,
every one,
because-
I map it out as a storyboard every time. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, because the emotion that you actually create in there, and that's important in any marketing, is to feed off of emotion.
Absolutely.
And the emotion that you actually create in the videos makes you want to buy it, right? Because, I mean, we played the previous one and the current one, and we showed it in our board meeting this morning, and the girls were sold. Right? They wanted to buy the house.
Bring me an offer.
3.2 million. No, but I mean, just the fact that you're able to capture that says something. Says that you, like, I mean, that differentiates from everybody else. Like, I mean, you really stand above the crowd.
Well, and you know what? Again, back to self-awareness is, I knew that, you know what, I do most of my, all of my videos, but I knew that myself, my face, my personality might not sell it through this video. So what I did is on the one on Queen Street that you just showed, I actually had CTV news anchor Jennifer Ward come and present the home, because that's what I felt this home deserved, and that's what I thought my client deserved, and it really turned out well, and she did a fantastic job.
Now, just an estimate to give people an idea about investing in your business and investing into your client right now. On average, what would that video have cost to do?
Well, when you're in the luxury market, that one was a lot higher.
Okay.
You know, you're looking at around $2,000.
Okay.
But your average listing video that I do is normally free because I do it myself.
Yep.
Or max around $700.
So, okay, so you got free with some time investment if you have the right skills to do it.
Yeah.
About $700 to get someone who can, you know, help out and aid with it. Or if you're looking to do something that's really professional for a couple $1 million listing, so you're looking at a couple thousand.
Yeah.
So, what would be your what are your thoughts on investing, though? Because there's a lot of people that don't want to invest in their brand, their business, or in your case, in real estate. You know, realtors sometimes don't see the value, especially the ones that have been in the business maybe 20, 30 years, and now they're struggling because they're getting younger people that are coming in with all these crazy ideas. What would be some of your advice for that?
Well, I think that it's important. You got to lay it out on the line. How much are you going to get paid per sale? And how much are you going to, or how much can you afford for a video? So let's just say if the average commission is, and I'm just saying based on the average home price, is in $4,000 to $6,000. Out of that $4,000 to $6,000, you can't spare $500 to $700 for a listing video of high quality, and I think once you get over that the money aspect and realize that it's really going to be an investment in yourself, an investment in your brand, and it's really going to help long term, I think it's a no-brainer moving forward.
For sure. And I think, too, because of the quality that, like, say, using your example of what you're doing, the quality of what you're putting out as an end result, as a product, actually helps you in the long term, because if I'm going to list my house, I want to list it with you. You know what I mean? Because of what you do, how you represent it, what you put out there. So, I mean, that is something to really look at, too, if you guys are realtors watching this and maybe are afraid to put yourself out there, spend the money, but you got to look at the people that spend the most money. Money follows attention, always.
Absolutely.
And if you're getting the attention, if you're doing the branding, people know who you are as a realtor, as an authority in your space of what you're doing, you will get more business than the person that just says, I'm a realtor.
Absolutely. And I think the important thing about that is, you know, you're showing how far you're willing to go for your clients. Your service level is up here compared to the agents that don't provide any video or any kind of service like that.
Absolutely.
And I think the reason why I've been so successful is because you can't, if you're in my network, you can't go an hour without seeing my face, seeing what I'm doing for my clients, seeing what I'm doing to help promote myself, and I think that draws clients to me because they want their home to be featured on what I have to offer. It's the same thing with all the big guys, all the you know, the Barry team, the Emily Barry team in Niagara Falls. They have a strong presence online, and their engagement is through the roof. And she is killing it in her video marketing, and that's one of the main reasons. Well, obviously because they have a phenomenal team, but at the same time, it's because the service that they provide for their clients.
And I think that really sticks out, and that's why they're so successful.
Well, you're hearing today too, because I mean, we got it's a changing time, right? And you're
Absolutely,
hearing today
yeah.
where people are selling homes based on a Facebook ad, for example, right? And I mean, a lot of people don't get it, don't understand it. I can't tell you how frustrating it is sometimes when I sit down with someone who may be just starting out or is been in the business for a while, and they're like, "Yeah, that social media thing." You know, I kind of use it, kind of use it. Right? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, are you crazy? Do you understand? First off, it's a free platform. You can get out there. It's cost effective. You can do whatever you want. There's nobody saying, like, if you advertise on TV, at a certain point, there's only certain things that you can do.
Yeah, and there's only certain people who can see it.
And 30 seconds,
I'm on
too,
social
right?
media right now. I'm looking at the view count, and you know, I'm looking at the notifications, and I'm obviously not engaging because we're having a conversation, and that would be rude. But at the same time, I'm on it all the time. You know, sometimes my wife will look over and say, "What are you doing? Can you get off that phone?" I say, "Honey, I'm working."
Yeah.
So, you know, the people who don't want to get on social media, and I don't think that there's very many of them left, but the people who aren't on social media, they're losing.
It's true.
They have their database, of course, but eventually the database is going to witness what's happening and go with somebody else, regardless of how long you've worked with that realtor, or, you know, if it's your brother, your cousin, or your mom, for crying out loud. They're going to eventually go with the people who get the most exposure.
Yeah. And I mean, databases right now, a lot of people are using email databases. And to be quite honest with you, email is so pushed out, so we're bombarded constantly with spam and social media stuff that comes in and notifications and like that a lot of people just, I mean, there's so many filters now. Gmail is a perfect example where it filters everything and tries to narrow it down and funnel it to only what you need to see, that those emails get lost now.
Yeah, you know what? Even when I give free downloads to people, I don't say it's just a button. I don't need your personal information. I don't need your email. Just enjoy the content.
Yeah,
that's what it's there for you to enjoy, to learn, and, you know, implement yourself. What's good about realtor clients, though, is that you become, especially with me and my clients, you become best friends with them, and it's a long-term relationship. And I think once you're on that level with your clients, they'll be happy to open any email that you provide them, because you know that it's not going to be spammy. It's not going to be, oh, here's a sale, oh, I'm doing this, oh, don't forget to refer me to your friends. It's none of that. It's content. It's valuable stuff they can use at their own leisure, you know, in regards to you know, tips for their home, or you know, samples, or anything really. And I think they appreciate that. But you're right. Only 1% of emails get opened if they're not comfortable with you, or they don't trust you.
It's changing.
And that's a waste of my time. I know everything's automated, but if I can save the couple $100 a month from sending you crap through your email every month, I'm going to do that. Put that money and invest it into something that's actually going to create value.
Yep. I agree. And with that, make sure you keep it locked. We are going to take a quick break. Watch the, what would you call it, commercial? Or I guess we call it commercial?
Sure.
Watch the commercial after the commercials. Check out what he's doing. He's doing some awesome work. We'll be right back.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
all the trouble I had caused with my two hands. Alone we traveled on with nothing but a shadow. We fled far away. Hold your horses now until the sun goes down. Through the woods we ride into the mountain sound. Hold your horses now until the sun goes down. Through the woods we ride. Some hit scars and some hit scratches. It made me wonder about their past. And as I looked around, I began to notice that we were nothing like the rest. Hold your horses now until the sun goes down. Through the woods we ride deep into the mountain sound. Hold your horses now until the sun goes down. Through the woods we ride. We sleep until the sun goes down. We sleep until the sun goes down.
And we are back with The Gloves Are Off with Grant Browning, and this is the show on business and success. We have Andrew Perry, who is a realtor and a marketer, and you're seeing some of his work and the importance of dealing with a realtor that has a background in marketing and understands the concept of getting it out there. Why don't you? You were just telling me some stuff about those videos we're watching, because I love the band that you put there too.
Yeah, so actually what this video was almost a beautiful coincidence. We
Okay.
had the garden tour that the Horticultural Society of Niagara-on-the-Lake. They do a garden tour every year, and just so happens that we merged the two together, and it worked out perfectly. We had 800 people come through what we called an open house and garden tour, and I mean, obviously we didn't let 800 people into the house. That would just be crazy, but it worked so well, because I think not only does this house have amazing curb appeal, but it's the beautiful gardens that really sell the home, and most people don't have an opportunity to come in and witness the entire thing based on the season. July and August is the best time to have people there and viewing the gardens, and so it just worked out perfectly.
And you said you had over 800 people over there.
Yeah, over 800 people.
That's crazy.
It's sweet. I wish I could take credit for that. I can't. It was mostly the garden tour, but
as much as the garden tour, you were still able to connect and get these people that were there,
man,
right?
it was a really fun experience. You got to, it was so unintrusive, so the conversations that you had with the people walking through were very candid. There was no sales pressure. They were here for different reasons. So I think that's why it was very beneficial for us. We got a lot of great information, a lot of great feedback, and we even met a lot of great people along the way.
Wow. That's why you got to do business with them, guys. Relationship marketing. You actually spoke and touched on that quickly. The importance of relationship marketing. You're in a business of people. Why don't you like give us a little bit of insight why it's important to build those relationships? Because I mean, real estate is something that you have a client that you might buy every 5 to 10 years sometimes. So you got to be able to keep in contact and keep in front of people.
Yeah. I wish I had like a business answer for you, but I have more of a spiritual answer.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
It's more like I said earlier. We're all in this thing called life together. I think people that you're working with deserve the respect that you would want. So I think it's important just to have a genuine conversation with another human. And I think that building those relationships, building the trust at their own pace is something that's very important. I'm not a product pusher. I'm not a commission junkie. I genuinely want to help you out, and I think my clients see that, and they want to bring the business to me. It's like Gary Vaynerchuk. He doesn't push any products whatsoever, and now just from all that audience engagement, he's been able to run a multi-million-dollar successful business. And I'm obviously not on that level, but the objective is the same. I just want people to feel comfortable. If they like me enough and they trust me enough, they can bring me their friends and family. That would be awesome.
Well, you're doing an awesome job too, because you're doing exactly like you says. You're documenting instead of just creating, right? So you're showing everything. Like you were saying, you can't wait to get home to start, putting together the video of your day to day, right?
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
I mean, that's a really key thing, is to actually document what you're doing, making yourself an authority in what you're doing in your space, right? So what does your day typically look like for you?
Well, my son is 17 months old, so my first duty in the morning is to get him all ready for the day. So, we wake up, we have our cereal, we have our other snacks, change his bum, and that's how my day is starting. And then from there, I'll check all the new listings for all my clients that are in the market right now, and I'll send them out as fast as I can, because obviously I want my clients to be the first to view them. And then from there, I just have my day previously planned out from the day before, and then I'm on my way. I usually got my camera with me, and I'm recording it out through the day. Sometimes it's a little less interesting than others, but I think it's important that I have a structure, and I follow that structure daily, because if I don't, I'll get off track, and next thing you know, I'm eating chips at my desk or something and not following any
What's wrong with that?
system.
What are some of your mentors? Who
man.
are some of your mentors?
Well, I would have to say there's 3 mentors that really helped me change my life around, and they're from my LA Fitness days. That was Paulo, Scott, and Mike Richard, all from LA Fitness, all VPs in the company. And if you're looking for ways to change your life, go work for LA Fitness. You won't be disappointed. They're going to teach you the systems that you need for success. Those 3 people, and they were all so different. One taught me the systems, one taught me to be genuine, and one taught me how to be a thought leader and how to motivate your team. So I think those are my direct mentors. For the people that I haven't met but follow religiously, Gary Vaynerchuk, Grant Cardone, and I just love what those guys are doing on a professional level, as well as what they're offering in terms of value for people who they've never even met. I think it's crazy. I think all the stuff that they give away for free is just incredible.
What are some of the biggest lessons you learned from them?
Man, that's a really good question. I don't think I've ever really thought about that. I think the biggest lesson that I've learned from all of those mentors is to create value. It's the same thing, I don't know you, and I want to get to know you, and I want to offer you value. And that's the only way that I can get you to trust me. It's not a game, but that's just how it goes. I want you to trust me. I want you to work with me. How can we do this so there's no sales pressure? And I think that what I learned from Gary Vaynerchuk is that just offer them value, man. Just put yourself out there. Let them see you as the expert that you are, and have them call you. Because once they call you, the sales tension is off the table.
Nice. Wow. I want to close out asking you, what is one of the biggest closers or the biggest advice really that you can give people in business?
I think the biggest advice is don't think too much about the numbers. I mean, obviously, if you're a CEO watching this, you're probably getting a little upset with what I'm about to say. But don't get too caught up in the numbers. Don't get too caught up about the bottom line. Get caught up in your clients, in your customers. Care what they care about. Listen. We got 2 ears, 1 mouth. Listen twice as much as you talk. Listen to what your clients want. Deliver on what they want, and your business will flourish. That's it, really.
Wow. How can people follow you?
At The Real Andrew Perry on Facebook, at A Perry on Instagram, at A Perry Snapchat, and at Andrew Perry on Twitter.
Okay, and websites?
AndrewPerry.com.
Phone number?
905-380-6702.
To list their house?
AndrewPerryRealEstate.com.
Okay. So there you have it, folks. Another awesome edition. If you guys want to be a guest, make sure you hit us up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. I think it's over there. Somewhere. Hit the hearts, the likes. If you guys have any questions for Andrew, put them in the comments. We will get to you. Either Andrew or myself will get to you.
Yeah, reach out whenever you want.
We're going to put all his links in the bottom of the video so that way you can get a hold of him. And that's it. Thank you so much
thank
for.
you very much. I really appreciate it.
It was a pleasure. It was awesome. So until next week, guys, we'll catch you later. Have an awesome weekend. Keep hustling.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
Welcome, everybody.
Greetings.
Here to help you. Here to help you.
I say off here.
Yeah, man.
Well,
Guys, do you see how warm it is outside right now?
That is true, you know.
For winter in January, it's a little scary.
Give thanks to Mother Nature.
Welcome, everybody, to Here to Help You. We have a really good show for you today. We have a young lady who's driven all the way from London, which is showing you how our viewership is reaching.
You know, I'm surprised in it. You know, I'm going to ask this question later on by means, but you know, like, we just don't know the impact of our reach.
Absolutely.
Right, and how far and how wide it does cast. That net does cast, right?
It's a beautiful thing, though. When she told me she wanted to come on, she's like, I'm coming from London. I'm like, how am I supposed to say? How do you say no? We don't want you on the show.
Yeah, you know.
You wrote a book and everything, but no. We have to have her in, and her information is actually valuable because it's about health. And of course, with it being the new year, Dave, you would agree. But hold on. I'm doing this all wrong.
Ooh, what's going on?
I need to introduce my co-host. I'm sorry.
Sorry, you know. We're just
the co-host with the most.
Oh, thank you.
I changed it from hostess because Jordan called me out one day, but
listen, man. I called you out because you called me a hostess.
Okay.
Thank you.
Anyhow, the host with the most.
Right. Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much.
You guys, whatever, man. It's not this brotherly love foolishness.
Cool, no?
Mr. Rankin,
yes,
the one, Dave. By the way, Mr. Rankin, good set yesterday.
Thank you so much.
So if you guys don't know, Mr. Rankin DJs on Care 101 Media, which is our brother company, sister company, however you like to call it, and he DJs
something like that.
Yeah, Here to House You on Monday nights from 10 o'clock p.m. till 12 a.m. But I had to say, last night was
had you dancing?
Yeah, man, pretty serious. I think I may have fell asleep, but in my sleep, I think I was doing one of those.
Yeah, the spirit was moving. It moved the soul.
Absolutely, soul moving.
Right.
Very well done.
Thank you very much.
Now your turn to introduce me now.
What should I say? Alongside the Donnet.
There's no lipstick on my teeth, right?
You good?
Okay, fantastic.
Simone Jennifer.
Yes, big up myself. So before we bring in Perlette, which is her name, beautiful name by the name. It's such a freshy name, Perlette. It's really. Just saying. It must have been a Jamaican who named her.
But we have these names, like Winston.
But we didn't get them. We got Dave and Simone. Like they just found the most generic names that they could find.
They made sure that we blended in. You know what I'm saying?
So you know what? I want to introduce. Did you want to introduce what we're going to be doing for our viewers on Here to Help You, and for the business community, and for anyone who owns a business, anyone who's an entrepreneur? Did you want to introduce it?
I think you considering that you are the wordsmith, go on with it.
Whatever.
Yes, I.
So, starting this week, we are going to be helping our event planners, our organizations, our community groups to get their information out here. Something that we've noticed in our community is that there's a lot of really good business, a lot of really good events happening,
yes,
a lot of really good services, but no one knows about them because a lot of us don't understand the importance of advertising. You can have the best product in the world. If no one knows about it, it's still the best product in the world that no one knows about.
It's sort of like that question where, if a tree falls in the forest and no one's around to hear it,
exactly,
would it make a noise?
So
right?
Many of you are that tree that just dropped and no one can hear you. So what we want to do is put a speaker coming from the woods into the world. We're going to be that speaker from the forest so that the tree, when it dropped, you feel me? Now you hear it. That's what we're going to do. And how are we going to do that? Well, that's what we're going to do.
That was
pretty good, right?
Yes, it was.
You brought that, though. You brought the whole analogy of the tree and it dropping. Okay, let's get into it because we only have a few minutes to do so.
Cool.
So what we're going to be doing is offering to you, and you can email me at simone@carib101.com, any events, any type of event that you're having, anything like that, call me. Let's talk about advertising. Let's talk about getting your event out there. We will do a full write-up, a full talk, a full presentation of the event about you, who you are. What else are we going to be doing for them? They can even come in if they'd like to, and you can come speak about your event like that. Nothing's better promo than you're speaking about your own event.
There we go.
So to start it off, I'm going to start with an event that's happening this Friday. It's called Love Yourself Paint Night, and I'm going to have Jordan just throw up some pictures of paint because I'm an art fan. And even if you're not the greatest artist, art has a way of helping you deal with certain things. So with this group, they're doing a Love Yourself Paint Night. It's being run by Mrs. Shira Marriott. That last name, eh?
Yes.
She sounds very fancy, but honestly, she's a wonderful young lady that we work with actually in the community as well.
That's right. Big up to Saya.
She is, you have to big him up, eh?
Big up, my red.
Dave happens to teach her son as well. But she runs events, and she's been doing this for the last few years, and I think this year she really wants to take it full force. So she's she's working alongside, I guess, a group. It's called Change the Art Paint Parties, which is out of Hamilton, Ontario.
Wow.
I believe it's her sister.
Okay.
And this is their write-up. Ever wondered what it's like to truly love yourself? This paint event will take you on a carefree journey to discover what's inside of you and teach you to embrace your quirks, beauties, strengths, and weaknesses by learning to be who you were created to be. So the venue is going to be, actually it's Midtown. It's at New Life Church Community Ministries, just in the recreation room. Tickets are $40. Which isn't too bad because that pays for the Young and Free package, which is your brushes, a canvas, which is 9 by 12, paint, step-by-step guided lessons, the use of an easel, the use of aprons, and all the other materials and supplies. And plus, did I mention this woman can cook? This woman can cook. And I'm speaking, and Tanya, I want to tell you right now, I will take payment in food and money. I will do both. I am not partial to either or. You can give me more food than you do money. I don't care. But I know you can cook. I've tasted it, girl. Don't front. So honestly, it's just going to be a really good event. Right. If you want to get any information about this, you can telephone her at 647-706-5397 or email her at hamutel@hotmail.com. What I'm going to do is, when I post this in the YouTube, when it posts at the end, I'm actually going to put her information in the comments section. So you can go there. This will be fun. It's Friday night, something to do. Even if it's stick art, who cares if you can't draw? It's good for just releasing. I'm going to be talking about vision boards. There's a vision board that's there, Jordan, that I was presenting, and the power of them. I'm not going to go into too much detail, but vision boards are big this year.
I've noticed.
Yeah, they're huge this year, but there's a reason for that. And actually, Perlette, our guest, is going to talk about how this book was actually on her vision board that she wrote, and she actually wrote it.
Okay.
Vision board's working again. All right, your turn. Hit it.
Right. You don't said a mouthful.
I know, I did that quick too. Go on.
I know. Jordan, could we get the vocal, yes, the round table? Thank you so much. So vocal euphoria. Now this is public speaking. It's classes on public speaking.
Ooh, that's cool.
Yes, one night, January 15th at the Silver Mill. I hope I said that right. But anyways, Monday, January 15th.
Wow.
2 classes. Start one at 6. The second one now, which is the speech savvy. Can you mind throwing? Yeah, perfect. Right.
On it.
I know.
On it today.
I tell you, right?
Guy.
7:30 to 9 o'clock. The difference between the two, right, and they're both made out of the same place, by the way. Right. Now, the difference between the two is that the roundtable one, students will learn how to go ahead and think on their feet, right, and speak confidently in meetings.
I like that. That's
Right?
really good. That's a important. You need to be able to present yourself.
Exactly.
Period.
Right. And the second one, which is still up there, the speech savvy, students learn the art of presenting in front of an audience. Right. So, of course, you know, the eye contact, when to go ahead and slow down, when to go ahead and speed up.
When to use your hands, when not to use your
Exactly,
hands.
right? So, I mean, that seems like fun.
Putting emotion.
VocalEuphoria.com. The phone number is 416-421-0789. Call for details. Definitely something, if you would like to go ahead and get involved, call. Let her know. She's a wonderful person, Miss Carolyn T.
Okay. And the same thing, we will also put this information up in the YouTube so
Yes,
they
we
can
will.
get to. So this is what we're going to be doing for you. So again, for any entrepreneurs, anyone who's doing anything, authors, this would be great for you. The great thing about social media is that, and especially something like YouTube, is that once you put this up, it is there. You can take this and use this as your promo pieces.
There we go.
If someone was like, well, tell us about your book, or tell us about your event, or tell us about, you know, this company, you can then go to a video and send it to them. It's just, it's very impactful.
It is. I
Right?
mean, once again, I mean, we just don't know the reach, right? And more importantly, it's something that you can keep forever. You can use it as you want, create it, chop it up, you know. So by means, you know what? Let's take advantage of it, y'all.
So again, you can get in contact with me at Simone, SIMONE, at careb101.com. We can ask questions. I have the answers for you. We can figure out what we can do for you, get these things up. And when we come back, we'll be back with Miss Perlette Cassell from London, Ontario. Woo! What a drive. See you guys soon.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back, everyone, and I am back with, first of all, of course, my host with the most.
I'm glad you didn't say hostess, because it looked like you were going to say that. You know what I'm saying? And I can't afford you to go ahead and try to call me hostess twice.
I'm sorry. That's why I said host with
Thank you.
the most.
Thank you so much.
Mr. Dave Rankin, and I have a very special guest. Let me make sure you're set up. Hold on. Let me set you up, girl.
All right.
Make sure that.
Oh, well covered.
I need to make sure that people can hear you because you drove a long way.
Yes.
I would like to present to everyone Ms. Perlette Casals. Did I say it right?
You did, yes.
And why you're so special for being here is the fact that we were talking about this. You're here from London, Ontario.
I am, yes.
Thank you so much for coming here.
You're
Honestly,
welcome.
we don't understand again the impact sometimes that this show has in the reach. So the fact that you're driving in 2 hours to come and just sit here for an hour is awesome. So we are very humbled by that. Thank you. Thank you very much. And
You're
the fact that
welcome.
you're going to share some information that many of us need. I hope you guys are watching. Many of us need to hear. Yep, you with that bag of chips in your hand. I hope you're listening. So let's give you the floor. Let's first talk about why you drove. What made you say, I need to come and do this? What brought you here today? Because that's going to kind of lead us into the rest about who you are and what you do.
So it's my pleasure and my delight to be here. I saw the show you had Joanna on,
Yes.
and it was so exciting. And I was in London, and I'm like, wow, I just love that show. So, and I thought it would be a great opportunity, to bring the book and talk about the book. Yeah, so I would have driven further than London to come and be on the show.
This is awesome. See, this is what I like. I have my head all. Am I still in the frame? I have to make sure my head's still in the frame because it just went like.
Oh boy.
And you can't even talk your patois to you,
I'm scared. So, okay, of course, we all know London. So she's very happy to be here today because she can actually be herself. You can be Jamaican, girl.
I guess
You can talk it all here
I
today.
can chat my patois, yes.
So let's talk about the book, why you're here. So what does that mean, Doctor? Because I have many questions about this book. By the way, we're going to be giving you a lot of her information. The website is also connected to the bottom of the YouTube page. You can scroll down right before the comments. You're going to see the information where you can find Perlette and where you can find her book. But let's talk about your experience because this came from somewhere.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
let's go back into history. Who is Perlette? By the way, that's a very freshy name.
My dad named me. And I haven't met anyone else with the name. Can you believe it?
Oh, boy.
No, I can believe it. Yes.
So my goal is to empower people to take an active role in their healthcare, right? And this was based on my own experience, my own patient experience. So you know how you think you're young and things run in your family and you're like, that is way down the road. I don't need to worry about that now.
I'm raising my hand for
yeah,
that.
let me eat as much yam that I can and all the sugar that I can and, worry about that later. So in summer of 2016, I was busy writing another book too. And I work 9 to 5 and I volunteer in my community with newcomers to Canada.
Okay.
So right now I'm even volunteering with a Syrian family. They're Syrian refugees.
Fantastic.
So I've been doing that for the past 15 years. And last
Wow.
year I got an award, Ontario Volunteer Service Award.
Oh,
yeah.
wow.
so
I
it
love
was
hearing
great.
this stuff. Good for
Yeah,
you.
yeah,
Good
it's
for
very
you. Thank you, by the way.
rewarding.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So I wasn't feeling that great and I was feeling lethargic and, lazy and sleepy every time I eat and stuff. And I was like, this is not me. What is going on? And sometimes you downplay your symptoms. You're like, so I was saying to
Absolutely.
myself, oh, it must be my iron that's low. And so I was talking to a family member in Jamaica and they're like, diabetes runs in the family, so you should go check yourself out. Don't stay there and die or,
Right.
patois,
Very
stay there and
Jamaican.
dead, whatever.
Right.
And I'm like, and you should check your A1C. And I'm like, A1C?
A1C?
I have never heard of that. Like, how would you even know about that? And they said, oh, I went to the doctor and the doctor told me about the A1C, about the importance of knowing what your numbers and stuff. And I'm like, really? So after I was finished the call, I went on Google and I looked it up. And the next thing I did was to book an appointment to talk to my doctor because I'm like, how come I didn't know about this stuff? And sure enough, my A1C was high and I was in the pre-diabetic phase. Oh, my goodness.
So
Yes.
hold on. A1C, for the people who do not know, because you will now know.
Right.
What is A1C?
So it measures, the A1C is the blood sugar level in your body, but it's measured over a 2 or 3 month period. It's not the one where you prick your finger and you get a reading. That is the self-monitoring blood sugar. So people who have diabetes, that's what they do. They check, right? But this is way before. This is like prevention mode, way ahead, so it doesn't get that far. So there are different levels, different readings. So depending on the reading, it tells you if you're diabetic or you're pre-diabetic, and the doctor will see it from the blood work. So I went to the doctor and I got the requisition to go get my blood work done. And the results came back, and now you can see it online. You can go online and get your results, for your blood work. So within 3 days, and then I saw it flagged high. HI. Yeah, and then I'm like, oh my goodness. So I booked my follow-up, and that's another point. People must book their follow-up, even if the doctor says to you, oh, you know, if everything is okay, you won't hear from us. Go book your follow-up and go through your numbers and understand what they mean. So that set me on the journey of tracking what my A1C level was. High blood pressure runs in my family on my dad's side, so I had both. High blood pressure on my dad's side, diabetes on my mom's side, and I was in denial thinking it's so far down the road I didn't have to deal with it, and now here I am. So that got me on the journey. So I was keeping these slips of paper, this for my blood pressure reading and this the blood work results for my A1C, and I just felt disorganized when I went to the doctor with all these sheets of paper. So I started a notebook to jot things down, make sure I was more prepared. And so that's how I wrote the book. That's how the book came about.
Love it.
And the title came about.
I love it.
It was pretty easy to get the title because when I went to my appointment to the doctor,
that was your question.
And that was my question, line by line. So what does that mean, doctor? You know,
what does this mean?
Yeah. This is the reading. What does that mean? So that's how I got the title.
I love it. And you know what? I was going through the book. I haven't had a chance to go through it completely. There's a couple of things that I like, and we're going to be going through some of the stuff in the book as we go on. But what I do like about this book is the first thing, I don't know if you guys can notice something, it's very thin. Because my smart lady here realized that some of us don't like to read. Is that fi? Is that right? Did I put that in there properly?
Beautiful.
Okay. So we don't like to do that sometimes. And because she realized this, she made it readable, very small. This should not take more than, honestly, guys, no more than a day, even for the worst reader, even for the person who hasn't picked up a book in about 3 years. And the great thing about it is as you're going through the book, it's she has a good mix of the knowledge, obviously the important information, and then she follows it up with obviously some examples and some charts. There's charts in there. There's places for you to put your referrals. So this is going to be a handy tool for most people in their family right now, especially as you start to get older.
Yes, and even for aging parents, because some people have purchased the book for their aging parents.
It's an awesome book, and it is great to help them get organized. Because again, when you get to a certain age, not everything is as like
exactly.
So when we come back, we're gonna have Perlette go into a little bit of details about what's in the book, because it's important that you guys know why it's so important to purchase this. So what does that mean, doctor? Ask some questions. See you guys soon.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Discover the incredible India.
Welcome back, everybody. If you are just joining us, I'm very happy today that we have our guest, Miss Perlette Cassell, and she's here speaking about her experience with health, some of the things that she went through, and then the book that came from that, which I think is going to be very important. So what does that mean, doctor? This was the one question that she kept annoying her doctor.
I know. I brought my blood work results. And
He
so
must
on
have been,
this and
she must have been
yeah.
so angry. Like, why is someone asking so many questions?
You know,
but you need to.
It feels this is probably one of the most important questions.
Absolutely.
Right?
What does this mean?
Exactly. Right. It allows us to go ahead and make the type of adjustments that we need.
Even if it's something we don't want to hear, you still need to make those adjustments, right? Absolutely. So, Perlette, you're going to go into some details about just certain things that we need to be aware of, which we think obviously the community needs to know.
Right. So first of all, your health is your wealth. So you have to make it a priority. If you don't have your health, you can't chase your dreams and achieve those goals that you've set. So
Very
you have
true.
to make that a priority. And the book is a quick read and it's easy to understand. It's an easy to understand guide, and it also helps you to record and track your blood pressure readings, your A1C level, as well as your cholesterol level. One point here, you know how you get confused about which one is a good cholesterol and which one is a not so healthy?
Right.
So if you associate H with healthy, the HDL is the healthy one.
Okay.
And the LDL is the not so healthy. So talk to
Okay.
your doctor, find out what your level should be. Normally they just tell you one number, but get to find out what the breakdown is. What was my healthy reading? What was the HDL and what was the not so
What
healthy?
does this mean, doctor?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm just going to walk in the book and just push it in her face. Like, what does this mean? I love it.
Yes. So the first thing I want to talk to people about, there are 3 action steps to assess your health, because you can't address it until you assess where you are, right? So the first thing is to book your appointment to do your medical checkup. So book your appointment with your doctor or your healthcare professional. The second thing is book your follow-up. Make sure you book your follow-up, but don't book it until your blood work results are ready, because there's no point you going in there, they won't have the results so you can discuss it.
Okay.
So, or if they referred you to like a specialist, just make sure they get all the results back. So when you go in there, you can have meaningful conversation.
Makes sense.
And the last thing is, ask your doctor or your healthcare provider, what is the next step on my health journey? Don't just say, oh, you need more exercise. Like, how many minutes? Like, how much? You know, is it moderate exercise?
Right.
You need more specifics in order for you to take action.
Very true.
Right? So, and also start with the basics. So there are 3 ways for you to be your own health advocate. Number 1, know your numbers. So know your numbers for your blood pressure. I didn't realize that there was baseline blood pressure. So I was in a motor vehicle accident years ago, and when the paramedics arrived, the gentleman said to me, do you know your baseline blood pressure? And I said, I've heard of high blood pressure, low blood pressure, but
What's a baseline?
I don't know. So he's like, next
You mean the
time,
beats?
ask your doctor. That means what is the normal
For
reading
you.
for you?
Yes.
Because some people have underlying conditions, and what it is for me might be different for someone else. So know what your baseline blood pressure is. So know what your blood sugar reading is. And when I say that, I mean your A1C, because that's the level. Once your blood work is done and you get the reading, talk to your doctor about it. So when you do it next time, you can compare it. You know where you are. So I've been learning all these things. So
It's very
honestly,
important.
yes.
Honestly, it's very important.
And the last thing you need, the last thing to be your own health advocate, know how the numbers impact your life.
Okay.
So I was feeling lethargic. That was my body telling me something, that my system had too much sugar in it. And I didn't even realize that all these carbs that I like, my white rice and my yam and all this stuff that I was eating in excess, everything in moderation, right? But, you know, I was eating it in excess, like I was like 20 or something, you know, and my body's processing this different, and then it was bogging down my system. So I was downplaying it, thinking, oh, it's my iron, you know, my iron is low, so So your body will always send you these messages. So pay attention.
Don't ignore.
Don't ignore it. And don't be too busy, because we're all busy. Like right now, I'm helping to care for my aging mother. She's in Jamaica too. And that is stressful. Like you're not there and everything. So you have to take care of yourself. Make sure you do self-care, because if you break down, everything has to stop. So make sure you're taking care of everybody, but you have to take care of yourself.
Love it.
So know the numbers and know how they impact your life. So I'm just going to go through a few things in the book, right? So I also have a checklist for maintaining a healthy lifestyle on page 7. And it just goes through some of the things that you need to do, like self-care, exercise, proper nutrition, read your labels carefully, and watch your portion sizes. Like me with that Jamaican rum cake, I could eat that thing like it's going out of style.
Do you know how many people you're hurting outside? Everyone's like, what do you know? Not the rum cake.
I know.
No.
In moderation. I mean, I could cut that cake and like every 5 minutes I'm back
just a
in
little
there.
piece.
Yeah, it's just a little piece. And before you know it, half of it is gone. Yeah. So, drink lots of water. And
yeah, that's a big one.
Also, I have in the book on page 19 your personal medical history. So you need to make sure you're keeping track of that. And on page 20, your family medical history, because, and I have there first degree relative, like your parents, your brother, your sister, your child. It's important that we know what our family history is, because later on in life, things start to pop up. It won't happen, for some people it doesn't happen early, but later on it will.
You start to see those things.
Yes, you start to see. And hospitalization and surgeries, keep track of that, because when you go back, if you have to go into the hospital, they're always asking you, when was your last surgery.
This is so handy.
So everything you can jot it down. And there's an appointment tracker on page 30 as well. And page 32, discussion points. So you're going to the doctor for your medical checkup. Make sure you do it every year. Make sure you write down your points, your discussion points, so you feel prepared at all times when you go. I was reading in Essence magazine, and they said, treat your doctor's appointment like a date. Make sure you're prepared when you go in.
Okay. So actually, I'm going to want you to talk about that article a little bit. I know you said you have that with you.
Sure.
But I'm even looking at this, and it's great, because obviously this book is going to track a few of your appointments. But this is one thing I know with teaching people how to do things is sometimes we expect people to do something without teaching them how to. This is a great way to teach people how to organize themselves so that they can continue from this and start even setting up their own little book.
That's right.
With this type of stuff, right?
Yes.
So this is it's almost like a starter kit to how to take care of your health.
Exactly.
This is the starter book.
Yes.
Which is awesome.
I'm amazed at the type of information that's in here as well.
Yeah.
I especially like on page 25, where you state that, of course, to bring a pen, piece of paper.
Yes.
Right. And of course, if person cannot go ahead and attend the appointment with an elderly, I mean, a note taker can be present as well.
Yes.
Right. So this is wonderful.
Yeah, this is awesome. It's a very good put together about just how to start taking care of yourself. And again, I really believe that some of us need to be taught to, because we weren't. We were taught, as you said, to just ignore, like, drink a little tea.
Yes.
Like, that's peppermint tea is going to solve everything that's wrong with your body.
And tea or something.
Sorry, Jamaicans.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. Peppermint tea you cannot take care of your blood pressure. I'm sorry. I know you guys are convinced it can. Let it go. We're joking around saying how first generation Jamaicans, we should have a show to talk about the foolish advice that our parents have given us, especially when it comes to health, because some of it makes a lot of sense.
Yes.
When it comes to just talking about drinking bush, I remember I was sick, my mom would just go in the backyard and find something. I'm like, what is this? Like, is this grass? Like, what are you giving me? But it would work.
Yes.
So there is some good stuff, but drink a little tea. That doesn't work for diabetes, especially because we put every piece of sugar that we have.
And we eat so much carbs. We're terrible.
Yeah, my goodness.
Terrible. So we need to be taught. So this is why I think I'm even now more so understanding the importance of this book.
Yes,
and why we need to have this out here.
Because if we're proactive, right, we don't have to go to the doctor and be shocked, right?
No.
About these things, because these are the basics, right? The three things you always hear about: your blood pressure, your blood sugar, your cholesterol.
And we never know it. So when we come back, we're going to talk about the book a little bit more, and then we're going to even go through that article about treating it like a date, because I think that's important for everybody. We'll be back, everyone.
Investing in yourself. Like, you have to know what your brand is first. So there's no other way that you're going to build a brand unless you network. You have to eventually get out there.
And it stems down to a lot of times not having the right knowledge, the right know-how.
Welcome back, everyone. If you are just joining us, I didn't realize how impactful this show was going to be. You're making me sit in here think. So we're with Ms. Perlette Casal. She's all the way here from London, Ontario. I just finished telling her that I really think that she needs to get here and be here a little bit more often. This book needs to be out there. But I know at the end you're going to be able to tell everyone where else they can find this book.
It's on Amazon.
Great thing, guys. This is $9.99 US.
Yes.
Not very expensive for a book that could most likely save your life if you are smart about it. So this is not one of those books that you just get, you read, and you tuck away. This is a book that you'll actually get, read, and put it in your purse as a woman. Absolutely. Or keep this in somewhere for you, or men. I don't know where you guys keep your stuff. Man bags.
In the back pocket.
Purse.
No. In the back pocket.
Wherever. But this is not, this is one of those, this is going to become a tool for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So let's go through and explain, let people see what else is in this book.
Right. So also on page 45, the title is Just Check In Before I Go, Doctor. So you get your requisition in your hand, the doctor hands it to you, and you know you have to go do your blood work. Make sure you find out if you have to fast for the test. And if so, when is the last time you should be eating? Because most of the tests have a certain time frame where you're not supposed to eat. So find that out before you leave. And number two, the questions are there any restrictions for this test? Right? Because you wouldn't know, the doctor check it off, you don't know what you're supposed to do. Many times they tell you, but just make sure you look out for those things.
Of course.
And how soon should I follow up with you for the results? So remember I mentioned earlier that go when the results are ready, because there's no point going when they don't have the results.
Right. Okay.
And if you got a referral, confirm the details so you are clear what needs to be done when you're going to see that specialist. And also, I was speaking to a nurse practitioner, and she said to me, make sure you get the correct address of the specialist, just in case they have moved offices or they moved to another clinic or something. Just make sure you're very clear. I also had an emergency room doctor review this for me, and a nurse practitioner.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because I wanted to make sure I was on point with things, because it's from a patient's perspective.
Right.
And they said it was very helpful. They wish people would really come to their offices prepared. It would save them a lot of time. I also have the conversation sample in here, the medical on page 27. So, you know how, say for instance, we're in Jamaica and Mike, and and I have a brother, and Dave is my brother. We have to set this up.
Hold on, give us a second. Let's get this together. Okay, let's plan this. All right, tell me my rule. Who am I?
Yes. So you are Dave's wife and I'm his sister, and you're going to be complaining to me about Dave not going to the doctor.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready. Dave?
Hello there. You see, I'm from Jamaica and I have lisp tongue.
So, doctor, I have a problem. This man doesn't listen to me. He should have been here at the doctor a long time ago.
You see, I'm fit. Well, I believe I forgot.
It doesn't matter if you're fit. Doctor, can you please talk to him?
Dave, it is very important that you get your medical checkup. You need to know what your numbers are.
Do you even know what numbers are? Can you count?
Your blood pressure?
No, I'm fit, but can't run in the morning time,
Oh, Jesus.
You still need to go to the doctor. So, in Jamaica, they would say, my brother, make sure you take care of yourself. We don't want ball if you're dead. So we're joking about this, but this is serious because we have stubborn family members who will not go to the doctor, right?
For sure.
All they say. So the conversation sample, you don't just go to the doctor and say, oh, my head hurts. You need to say to the doctor, the right side of my head or the left side, or where are you feeling the pain?
Specific.
Very specific. Have you taken anything for the pain, right? Are you trying to self-medicate? Because all these things are important for them to assess you, right? How long have you had it? How, all these things. So you can't just say, my head just hurt and that's it. You need more to provide more information.
She has some acronyms. So it's old cart.
Page 28.
Page 28, and I love it. So these are the type of the conversations she's talking about, the questions where it's like cause, what could have caused this, aggravation, what makes it worse, knowing, giving your doctor as much as you can so that him or her are better able to help you and assist you. This is awesome.
Yes.
This is really nice. Okay. Now, something else I was thinking, you're talking about being prepared. Going to a doctor in itself is such an anxiety-ridden situation.
Yes.
So being prepared takes out a little bit of that anxiety. I'm just thinking about it right now. When I'm going to the doctor, you're just thinking the worst right away.
Exactly.
Like, oh my God, I'm dying. I don't know what to do. Right? So it's like and you're right, you won't be prepared. You don't know where the address is. You don't know where the parking is.
I know.
And you're all over the place. When you get up there, your blood pressure is high anyways.
Yes, I know.
So the numbers are
The numbers are sky high. But if you're prepared, you go there at your base level. Is that right? Baseline?
Baseline, yes.
See how I learned something today? You're going at your baseline so the doctors are better able to help you. Sorry. All jokes aside, though, no, but seriously, I think this is fantastic.
Yeah.
This is fantastic. Such a great little thing to do.
I know. I remember going there and I have the paper on my right-hand side. This is my A1C result, and this over here, I go to Shoppers because they have like that blood pressure monitor. You can go in and use the machine and it prints off like the last 10 readings. So I had several of those little readings.
Oh boy.
And I'm thinking,
that's so much.
So disorganized. And you're right. It just sends your blood pressure up because you feel disorganized. And I'm like, there has to be a better way. And
you created a better way?
Yes. I mean, I had to find another way.
That's awesome.
Wonderful.
That's awesome.
And also, there's that's good to know information on page 49. So I want to talk to the women right now. Or for guys, you have mothers, sisters, cousins, aunts. When we go for a mammogram, you're supposed to ask for the thyroid guard to protect your thyroid when the examination is being done. And I have had instances where I went for my mammogram and no one volunteered. No one gave me the thyroid guard.
Whoa.
And a friend of mine who was watching Dr. Oz show saw that on Dr. Oz and said, Perlette, I know you're going for your mammogram, sometime next month, because I told her that I have to go for it. And she's like, make sure you ask for the thyroid guard, And, she saw it on Dr. Oz and told me about it. Otherwise, I would not have known. And I did ask the technician, and she went in another room and got it. And I'm like,
wow.
Why would you
have even offered that?
Yeah, but they said the exposure was so low But I'm like,
still
minimum to zero? I prefer zero.
Exactly, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jeez, that's crazy. That's very important. Thank you for that. Yeah. So thyroid guards, ladies, when you're going for your mammograms, it's right. Even you in your 30s, well, my class, because we have to go soon. Thyroid guard. I will remember that because it's here. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And they're life-saving tips for signs of a stroke. So the Heart and Stroke Foundation, part proceeds of this book will go to the Heart and Stroke Foundation.
That's amazing.
In memory of my father who passed away from a stroke. Yeah. As I mentioned to you, high blood pressure runs in my family. So that is one of the reasons I have to, whether I like it or not, I have to keep on top of it.
Yes.
And so there is an acronym for the signs of a stroke, and it's FAST, F-A-S-T. So the F is for your face. Is it drooping? A, arms. Can you raise both arms? S, speech. Is it slurred or jumbled? And T is time to call 911 right away. A lot of us grow up with our grandparents or we're around seniors. So this is very good to even teach your children to know the signs of
acronyms.
Stroke.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's fast. It's easy to remember.
Because it's fast.
Yeah.
And the acronym is fast. Sorry. I'm the corny one. I can't help it.
You see the importance, though. I mean, this is something that's easy. It's very easy to remember something like this, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Face, arms, speech, time. Quick. Because I remember fast. Face, arms, speech, time. Wonderful.
That's right.
I like this.
And that's from the Heart and Stroke Foundation.
This is beautiful. Very, very well
And
done.
there are also warning signs of a heart attack on page 53. People can go through that.
Because those are interesting to know, because I know sometimes some people have had heart attacks. I don't think they even realize it. Right? Like, because sometimes it's so subtle and it's things that you wouldn't even think about.
Yes.
Right? So this is good.
And we get stressed out when I was growing up in Jamaica, my grandmother, one day I remember going to church with her and she fainted on the road. And as a little girl, I had to run and get help.
Right.
So it's good to know these signs.
So you know what? Let us tell everybody, let's talk about the importance of this, of where and how to get this book. How do we get this into everyone's hands? Because I think this is something that, again, this is universal. It doesn't matter where you are. Yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna put a picture up too. YouTube is gonna have all the information, but tell people where to find you, please.
So the book is available on Amazon.com, Amazon.ca. You can always get it there. My website is perlettecassels.com, and I am on Facebook, Perlette Cassels Author, and on Twitter, P. Cassels Author.
That's right.
Yes, but get one for your family member.
Get one for yourself.
As a caregiver, your parents, your elderly parents or loved ones. For yourself, make sure you're proactive. Make this be the year that you take an active role in your health care. You don't leave it up to anyone. You be proactive and go in and ask your doctor. So remember the 3 action steps to assess your health. Book an appointment with your doctor or your healthcare provider or healthcare professional to do your medical checkup. Then book your follow-up appointment after your blood work results are ready. And lastly, ask your doctor, healthcare provider, what is the next step on your health journey?
Perlette, I'd like to thank you so much for driving down here.
Thank
It is
you.
an honor to have you here. Thank you for sharing this with our community. Everybody, so what does that mean, Dr. Perlette Cassels? Have a wonderful day. Dave, say bye to everybody.
Peace and love, family.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, Perlette.
No problem.
Bye, everybody.
Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
Hello, my name is Jay Bridgeball. I'm a real estate broker since 1988. I've seen the good days, the bad days, and the not so bad days. My passion is to educate consumer about all aspects in real estate. Actually, I sold over $1.75 billion in real estate. Now, that's a lot of experience. I've been through many failures, many successes, and I've seen many stories that you will be amazed. Not everything looks so glamorous as it is sometimes. On Let's Talk Real Estate, we will dig deep down and I will take you step by step through every process, from buying your first home to buying a multi-million-dollar investment property. We will have various people on this show. Lawyers, investors, we'll have mortgage brokers, appraisals, and everyone else to assist us to take you to that point. My aim is to break it down in such easy terms that you will be able to follow. So please join me every Thursday between 1 and 2, and let's talk real estate. Hello and welcome to Let's Talk Real Estate. It's our last segment for the year.
Yes.
Believe it? A few days it'll be a brand new year. This section we really want to focus into what to do with a lease, how to construct a lease if you are renting property.
Definitely.
Right?
And last segment, we actually went into a little bit of detail on why rentals are so important. And specifically this segment, we want to go over that a little bit and then get into the ins and outs of how a lease really works.
Yes, we want to get into the meat right away. Well, now a quick prediction as to real estate over the next 5 to 7 years. What will happen with real estate?
That's a good question, Jay. You know, everyone asks, so what's going to happen? And I know we don't have the crystal ball, but at least we can use some of the market data and give an educated guess on where things are going.
Yeah, definitely. Now, a couple of things we got to look at, irregardless, Amit, whether the market is going up or coming down. What's more important is cash flow on a long-term basis.
Right.
Right. Over the years, if you get 5, 6, 7, 8 rental properties, and each giving you, let's say, a few $1,000s per month, very quickly you'll find your cash flow will increase.
Definitely. And then when you have cash flow like that coming in, you really everything else tends to work a little bit easier.
Well, definitely. The nice thing about the whole situation in a bad market, there are more tenants because the guy sold his house and he got a rent.
Of course, yeah.
So in bad market, you can get better quality tenants as well.
You know, it's funny you mentioned that, Jay. Even in recent years, I've had people that say, well, you know, I really think the market is going to disappear. It's going to fall off. It's going to plunge. We're going to sell. Can you sell our house? And we sell them, and the market continues to climb sometimes.
And here, let me put it this way. I could see the market going up and up and up. Every year, an average between 5 to 7% increase.
Right.
Let me summarize it very briefly for our audience. Number one, with the new stress test coming out in a few days, actually.
Yes.
It's a big hype, but I don't think it will do anything much. What it's doing is just making people understand that if an interest rate go up, they can carry the load. They will be in a better position because they're qualifying to carrying a higher interest rate, but they'll be paying a lower interest rate.
Well, Jay, you know, that's been talk in the banks for quite some time. And when you actually think about it, the government has finally positioned things where everyone is a little bit safer. Because these rates are historically the lowest point in Canadian history. Now, if these go up, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
When.
So when these go up, you don't want guys that are stuck on variable or having to renew to go from a $1,500 payment to a $3,000 payment. That'll break the bank for some people.
Definitely. So it's a protection, a protective
mechanism,
move, right? To take care of that. On the same token, we got 36 million people in Canada, 10% retiring. We spoke about that in one of our previous podcasts. And we are expecting a lot of new immigrants in GTA.
Oh yeah, and from what I was reading, I think they were saying so close to 40 or 50% of immigrants are either coming into Vancouver or GTA.
Definitely. So we are expecting at least, let's say, 100,000 immigrants in a year and a half time. It will put an upward pressure on real estate. Well, stress tests put a slight downward pressure.
Right.
Demand will put an upward pressure, and that will cause real estate value to go up substantially.
Right. Many of the reports have actually been showing that 2018 is most likely going to be a 5, 6, or 7% increase as well. So I think you hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. So if you find that it goes up an average of 5% even per year, which is above inflation, in about 5 to 10 years, that's 50%. Let's say 5% a year. 10 years is 50%.
Well, when you also look at the same token, you know, these GICs at the bank are paying 1.5% right now, and that's money that you actually take and save. So it really is a stress to show that the importance of investing in the coming years is really going to show how you can leverage your money, the bank's money, and make a pretty penny for yourself.
A little bit of profit.
Yeah.
Now, let's fast forward. Last week we spoke about how to recruit and keep good tenants.
Yep.
We went through that process, how to prepare your rental property, how to search for awesome tenants, how to find awesome tenants.
Exactly.
You can go and look at our other podcasts and you will be able to learn that, how to do that. Now, this week we just want to get down into what's involved once you find the right tenant. Very important is to prepare a lease document for them. A lease is really a contract.
Yes, and you know, Jay, it's funny when you say lease because the majority of people, they just think, okay, I'm going to get a place, I just sign the form. It's a normal form and you just sign it. But there's a lot of nitty-gritty inside there, and you might be signing away things that maybe aren't even legal.
Definitely, you got to be careful what's in a lease. So as landlords, right, it's good to know what you are giving to your tenant. Right, and as tenants also, want to know what you are getting into.
Yeah.
Right. For example, a lease talks. We have a copy of our lease. It's a 2-page document that we use at the Bridge team.
Yeah, and we know we can put it up now. Yeah.
Yeah, we can really put it up so you can have a look at it and see what it entails. The first part in this lease addresses your rental property, where it's located, and what's important. Who are your tenants? And who are occupants?
Well, you see, and that's a very important point you bring up, because one person can be signing the lease, but they could be signing it and having Tom, Dick, and Harry living in the property.
Right. So definitely now the lease agreement states that, hey, we have A and B as tenants, and everyone else as occupants.
Right.
And it states that in the event the tenant, for some reason, is no longer there, could be debt, could be that they moved on to somewhere else, then the tenancy become void. The occupant are not the tenant.
So
right?
it's a fine line, and you see, the thing is, you may not have understood that legally you need a definition of those two different parties.
Yeah, you want to define it up front, and that's the whole idea of getting the lease done correctly. And for our viewers, I just want to let you know that we are passionate about educating our consumers. Okay, we offer free in-house consultation,
Yeah.
1 hour free. There's no cost, no obligation. It's just our way of giving back to you. Right? The next thing, we are having our workshop. We will be covering all these things to first-time investors.
Yep.
What to do, what not to do. Not necessarily first-time investors. The way we handle it is that in this session, we'll have a panel of people. We all sit around in one huge square.
Yep.
And we all be chatting about every issue. So we'll find someone who have more experience and contribute. Someone who ask a question will get to learn as well.
You know, it's a really great environment because it's just free, open forum, and everyone brings something to the table, and everyone learns something, and that's what's
true.
important.
We bring and take from the table, right? Sounds like New Year's Eve party. Right. So now let's get back on track. We talk about the occupants, and we mention also what is involved, who are occupants, what they signed. Now, why that is important as well. In the event there is a fire, at least you can give this to the authorities and say,
Yes.
hey, these are the occupants and these are the tenants that are living in there.
Yes, and you know, because in many cases, a lease outlines the person that is leasing the property, but it does not go into detail with who is going to be occupying. So that's very important in case of emergency personnel like firefighters, police, things like that. Okay.
So the next thing you want to find in your lease is the terms.
Right.
When they are renting to when they will be leaving. Now, the term do not necessarily mean a paying term.
Oh.
It could be a month or two. Occupancy date can be even before
Yep.
the rental period start.
Well, many times, you know, you end up in a situation where moving never works out perfectly. As you know, Jay, so there's always an extra day here or a day short on this end. And if the property is vacant, you could have a lease or a lease agreement or a term starting from Tuesday, but you need that stuff to be moved in on Monday. So occupancy
Definitely.
period.
That's important. Actually, in commercial, we do it more than residential, where we may give the tenant about 3 months ahead of time so that they could renovate.
Right.
Right. So that's the occupancy period, and then we start after they finish renovating. It starts.
Got you.
But now, what is also important here within the term is that you have right in that lease agreement as your landlord to state that, hey, in event for some reason I cannot give you this premise on the day I promise, you can't hold me liable.
Right.
All right? Because it could be for different reasons. Maybe the current tenant is in there, didn't move out.
And you couldn't get rid of them.
I am caught now in a lease where I signed with you that you are moving in, but the other tenant did not move in.
And you can't fulfill it.
So it's right in the document here that, you know what, in event of a delay or anything, you as the tenant, you understand this, and you will not hold me as the landlord responsible.
And you see, this is much more in detail than you would see in a standard offer to lease or something like that. So these documents are very important to protect both parties.
Definitely. We have a lot more to cover. So tell you what, let's take a short break, and we'll be back with segment 2 about what you need to get in your lease.
This holiday season, be sure to pick up your copy of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper and check out all the specials from local businesses right here in our community. Help build a bigger, better, and stronger community with your support. Happy holidays from the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. Available at your favorite Caribbean location or online at torontocaribbean.com.
welcome back. So we are talking about our tenancy agreement,
Yeah.
what to get in your lease. We just spoke shortly about
All the
term-
the ins and
term.
outs and the terms and who's actually occupying the
That's
premise.
very important. So let's move further now. We talk about the terms. When you're renting something,
Mhm.
a property to someone, do you know that you can literally rent them the appliances separately?
Well, that's a good point there, Jay, because now it's becoming so common that even the owner is renting appliances or different items from a hot water tank to a furnace. So items like this, you can actually transfer that to the tenant now.
Yeah, a good thing, a good practice is that you're renting your premise
Mm-hmm.
under the Landlord and Tenant Act
Mm-hmm.
to the tenant. But in addition to that, which will there are some gray area too.
On raising rent and different
Right,
things like that.
definitely you can raise rent on the premise
Mhm.
at the allowable
1.5%,
rate,
yeah, mhm.
that every year is being set by the government.
Mhm.
However, if you're renting the appliances separately,
Mm-hmm.
right, your air condition is being rental, other things, you can literally increase those as well.
Really? So that's kind of a little bit of a way to sidestep certain areas, because very much more often than not in Peel region and Toronto in general, property taxes are going up, everything is increasing, and that 1.5% that's allocated by the landlord and tenant board may not suffice for the increases each year.
Right. We are not telling you to go and really harm your tenant, but
Of course.
basically, in my cases, what I do in many of my leases is that
Mhm.
I put that as added incentive.
Mm.
Said, okay, here, you know what, the appliances you will be paying for fridge, stove, washer, and dryer. You'll pay an extra $200 per month, let's say.
Mhm.
All right, for use of my AC, you'll pay extra money. If you
Mhm.
want something else, it's additional too.
Right.
And then I will give tenants sometimes some breaks for good behavior.
Right.
So if they pay on time, they take care of my rental property, I may waive the cost of the appliance.
Right. Okay, that's
Right?
good.
So that's what is covered in the lease. It states who will be paying for what, and they have an option of saying yes or no. So let them initial there.
That's very
Yes,
important.
we agree to this, we agree to this, we agree to that.
Mhm.
Right? That way they can't say, hey,
I didn't know. Yeah.
Right? So that's very important. So when we talk about appliances, we want to make sure that is being covered. Another aspect here that we want to talk about is the utilities.
Mm-hmm. Now, this is a very strange topic in many Peel region homes in Toronto as well, because it really depends on if everything is being rented on one level by one tenant or if they're taking the whole home. Now, how do you handle that, Jay?
Well, number one, if they're taking the whole home, you definitely want to get all the utilities transferred in their name.
Right.
The hydro and gas is easy to do
Mhm.
because usually that is being done by the tenant. I find that now even the companies, hydro and gas companies, they will like the landlord to call in ahead of time.
Yep.
They will give them a number, an account number, and then the tenant calls.
And they pull it over, even with water as well. Now, the landlord actually has to sign off saying that, yes, these are my tenants, and they keep everything on file. It's much more detailed than it was, a few years ago.
Right. Well, when it comes to water, water is more city.
Mm.
Because water is more city, it's the owner responsibility that's being
Mm.
paid. All that happened is that the owner is saying, hey, the city, I have this place rented, my tenant will be paying it. If my tenant don't
Yep.
pay, then you can come after me.
Yep.
Right? So that's really what you are assigning when it comes to water. Other than that, it fall on your property tax.
Right,
So
right.
you got to do that. In some area, it's water and garbage, like in 416 area,
Right.
it's water and
Water and
garbage.
waste. Mhm.
Right. Now, you always want to put the utilities directly in the tenant name.
Yes.
I've seen many situations where the landlord said, no, I will pay it,
Mhm.
and then I will go and collect it back from the tenant.
Right.
Now, number one, you're adding one more step.
One more headache to
One
your
more
list.
headache
Mhm.
to your list of already many headaches.
Mhm.
Right? Number two, you are paying it up front and then hoping to collect it back later. In the event of default, things get added up quickly.
Very much
right?
so.
3 months rent, 3 months utility can add up very quickly.
Definitely. So this is really something that's designed to be put in the tenant's name just to protect yourself as a landlord.
Right. So you want that in the lease, and they must sign to it as well what they got in there. Right? And now, as we move on, let's look at another area. We got 5 minutes more for this section. So, question. What happened if you got a tenant and the tenant go bankrupt?
Oh, that's a good question.
Right? Or for some reason the tenant did not come home. There is a death in the family.
And they're gone.
Right? Well, in terms of bankruptcy, you want to make sure that that clause is in your lease as well. That event your tenant go bankrupt, right? You become as one of the person to be able to collect
A debtor
money.
and collector. Really? Because
Right.
in majority of lease agreements or offers to lease, you won't find that in there. So that's very important.
It is very, very important to get that in it. What happened in case of bankruptcy? How would you be protected?
Right. Not at all unless you have that clause built in
Right,
there.
so you want to make sure that is in there as well. You want to cover that. You want to also cover in event of death. What will happen? If you're in a spouse or renting or two-person, automatically it transfer
Over to the other person.
To the other person, right? Or the lease become null and void and the occupancy have to leave in 30 days.
Right.
Right, so we want to make sure we get that built into our lease as well.
So it's better if these things are just all outlined up front. That's the kind of takeaway from
Outline
here.
up front. I always prefer that even at the side of everything, that the side is a summary on our lease. And here, if you need a copy of our lease, please email us at thebridge@thebridge.com, THEBRIJ at THEBRIJ.com, and we'll be willing to send you a copy of what we use. Okay, or give us a call at 416-418-2745.
Yeah, and you can find all the data down below.
Right, yeah. Okay, beautiful. So we can get that done as well. So, Amit, the next portion that we want to talk is the
Use of the property. Now, this is a very funny one, because you would think while renting a residential property, people are going to be renting that place to live in.
Right.
But there's many different cases that I've seen with something as simple as subletting. Single family turning into two family.
Right.
And the landlord has no idea what's going on.
Well, it's right in here, built into this lease, stating that number one, they cannot sublet unless they have your consent to do so.
Yep.
Right, landlord and tenant board also say, hey, they have that option to sublet. Well, there are situations people get caught in. But then at the same time, you must be able to approve it as well, because you just don't want to get all kind of different tenants. Right? You have that option as well, right? So it does that. I've seen situation where they said, hey, we'll use it for residential purpose, and the next thing they're operating a business out of it.
Oh yes, remember you were telling us a few episodes ago about your one client or one tenant that ended up being a baker.
Yeah.
Mold throughout the entire home.
Mold throughout the entire house. So that's why you want to stipulate what the use will be.
Right.
It's strictly for residential purposes and nothing else. Anything else will void that lease.
Gotcha. So then you'll actually have the control to say, well, you've not used this correctly, and now this lease is voided.
Definitely. So you want to have that built into your lease as well.
And also use of premises. Now I've seen that, and realistically, the use of the premises and how things are done, like snow removal and all these things, that's very important to keep in here as well.
Extremely. That's right in here as well. That how they will be using the premise. For example, you will provide a property with set of light bulbs and fuses, etc. And when you're ready to take that property over, it will get that as well the same way.
Well, that's a good point, because Jay, you don't want to be running over there to change a light bulb for your tenant. So it's good that that's outlined in there.
Right, but in many cases people take it for granted. It's not outlined. That there's an old saying when it comes to real estate: when in doubt, write it out.
Very good.
So when in doubt, make sure it's in detail. It's written out in that agreement.
Well, there's even things as fine detail as cutting of the lawn. Now, in 416 and 905 now, they're really cracked down in recent years. If your lawn is unruly and growing out, you can actually get a ticket for that, and that ticket goes to the owner of the property.
Well, I'll tell you this scenario. I got a ticket for one of my tenants that actually parked on the driveway, but one of the tires, about 6 inches, was on the grass.
Oh.
Next, I got a lovely photograph of it in the mail, and I went down to the Brampton court here and got fined for $250.
Wow.
Right? Yeah. So you got to make sure these things are happen. I mean, it must be stipulated in the lease here that when something like that happens, then that bill can transfer back to the tenant.
Right.
Many tenants may have a car that don't have a license plate.
Oh, yes.
And it's on the driveway. Right? And the next thing you will get charged.
You'll get a ticket for that as well. Yeah. So
it must be in your rental agreement.
Definitely. So things like that, the snow removal, exterior use of the premises, very, very interesting.
Now, snow removal is a very big thing. Right?
Should we look into that one at our next segment? It looks like we're out of time.
Let's get into that when we get back. See you soon on our third segment.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
Welcome back on Let's Talk Real Estate here with Jay Bridgeball and Amit Kanhai. Right now we're going over some of the in-depth issues with leases and things that many people might not know that are very important to be held in lease. So Jay, I think now we're going to be talking about snow removal and issues like that.
Yes, well, very, very important is liability, right? I've seen situation where tenant slip and fall and sue the landlord based on the fact that, hey, you know what, the place was unsafe.
Right.
After, in the courts, it came out very clearly, had the landlord had a clause in there stating that that's the responsibility of the tenant to shovel the snow, cut the grass, keep the place debris free, and make sure that they take care of all of those maintenance of common area.
Right.
Then that onus would have been on the tenant and not transferred to the landlord.
So something as simple as a one particular clause ended up nailing that landlord.
Definitely. So many people here, you know what, you're renting a rooming house. You're renting 5 rooms next to Humber College.
Oh, yes.
Now, make sure you got a lease with each one of your tenants there as well. And make sure you get into that lease that they're also responsible of, shoveling the snow and keep the common area debris free
from debris. And Jay, that's extremely important when you get into issues around colleges and universities, because the conditions are not always up to standard, and so, sometimes it falls on the landlord and sometimes it's the tenant.
Right, and now basement apartments. It's many basement apartments out there, and many people said, "Hey, you know what? I don't need a lease for a basement apartment. Come, pay me cash, and move on." But that's very, very dangerous what you're doing as a landlord, right? Reason for it is number one: if the tenants slip and fall, or something happen, you will be in big trouble.
Yeah, you're on the hook.
And even if you're collecting cash, the tenants have established that they are tenants.
All right. So the money is changing hands. So they've number one is already established that they are a tenant. Also, there's issues with you as the owner not reporting these things to your insurance company.
That's another big one, because you should, if you have tenants, that consider material fact, and material fact must be
disclosed.
Given to your insurance provider as well as to your mortgage holder.
And you know what's a funny thing, the way insurance works, Jay? They always seem to underwrite the claim at the time of the claim, not at the time when you've given your payment for 6 years or 3 years. They don't underwrite until the time you claim.
Yeah, the time you claim, that's when they do their underwriting, and most of the time people don't disclose these things because they said, hey, you know what, why should I and cause my insurance to go up? But that's, in hindsight, that's dangerous.
Oh yeah, because you're looking at, something as simple as a $10 or $15 or $20 increase. That's really nothing over 6-7 years when you think of a slip and fall that could be a $500,000 lawsuit.
Lawsuit, yes. But that's built in right to here as well.
Very, very good.
That into our lease that says that the tenant must also obtain third-party liability insurance and have the landlord as an event, everything happen, the landlord is protected.
And it's great because we also have in there that they have to initial and also represent and warrant that their fire insurance does not cover the content of the tenant.
Definitely. So that's a very important area to have in your lease document. Okay, now another very important area that we want to focus on is here.
Jay, before we get into that, I have a quick question for you.
Yeah.
I have many people that have asked me this question, and it's a funny one. But when you have landlords that are not always keeping all their items up to par, fridge, stove, washer, whatever these things, lights, fixtures, is it okay for a tenant to withhold rent because these items are not fixed?
No, I don't think so. Bottom line is that you just can't, as a tenant, you just can't say, hey, my landlord is not doing this, so I'll do this. Right? At the same time, the landlord cannot also say, hey, because the tenant didn't pay me or didn't do this, I
won't fix these items, right?
Definitely. It's two
two
wrongs are not right.
Got you.
Right? Now, the most important thing is here, number one, as a landlord, and if you want to be a good landlord, this is your business. You got to serve your people.
Right.
You got to take care of your tenant. If they report that the fridge is not working, then get it looked after, right? A landlord can actually a tenant can actually apply for rent reduction in event the premise is not safe or to standard or have health issues or anything of these things.
And I guess that's one of those situations where landlord and tenant, they go to the landlord-tenant board and they make some applications and get the ball rolling.
That's why I keep appliances separate from the rental of the premise.
Interesting.
Right? That in event something happen, it does not affect your rent. Remember we say earlier on we are renting these things separately?
Ah, yes.
So that's why we separate them.
Then you see these things, Jay, they only really come to mind if you're having an issue.
Right.
You can go years and years and years and never needing one of these things to be outlined in the lease, and then as soon as it comes, you realize, well, that's
what's
simple.
happening. Right. In addition to your lease, it's good we also have that form. It's good to have a form that stipulate that the tenant and your landlord walk through the property and they check things off. This is working, that's good, that's good. Hey, just like you ever go and rent a car, you see what they do?
Yep. All the dings, there dings. Did you recognize that scratch? Yeah.
All right. So similarly, you get a form that stipulate every little aspect in that property. And it's being documented and both parties sign off on it.
It's funny you mentioned that because I have a client of ours that's doing one of those just next month on the 15th, and we just called as simple as that, the final walkthrough.
Yeah. So you get that done, so one before and after, that way, in event there's problem, is going to be taken care of.
And you know what? Something that's very, very interesting. people don't always know, and landlords and tenants might not always know. The tenant is not responsible for normal wear and tear in the property. If the stove gets turned on and turned off and the door of the fridge keeps opening and closing, there's no issue to say that that is the tenant's fault, because that's normal wear and tear.
That's true. That's very important to handle it that way. Now, also in the lease, right, document, in addition to appliances and all these different nice issues that we're talking about, we want to make sure that the fire protection is there as well.
Carbon monoxide, fire, yes, very important.
And we had that stated right in the lease that the tenant will maintain it, right? If they have any problem, they must call us or give us in writing as to the problem
immediately,
and allow us to get in there to look after the problem.
Yes, because that's a very, very, very strict issue. Even when our clients purchase their, first, second, third, fourth investment properties, even if there's something in there that's working, a fire and carbon monoxide, and it transfers over with the home, I say, spend that extra $50, $100 and get a new one for every floor and install it, because this is your investment and it's people's lives.
Definitely. So you want to get that into your lease agreement as well, in the event sometimes that changes.
It's very important, like you said there, that the tenant will maintain it. Yeah.
Right. Now, how about pets?
Oh, that's always a hot button issue.
It is hot button because, number one, you want to stipulate in here also that whether they have pets or they don't have pets, yes or no. Right? I mean, it's against the human right code to tell someone, hey, you can't move in here because of your pets. At the same token, they acquire a pet while they're there. You can't go ahead as a landlord and say, hey, you know what? You got to get rid of your pet.
Yeah. So if they sign the lease saying no pets, they don't have any pets, and then they all of a sudden, acquire a pet,
Right. You can't evict them based on that ground. However, that's why you want to have a clause that we have in here stating that if they have pets and any damage is being done by that pet, they will be responsible for that.
Oh.
Right. So you want to make sure that is being in there. That you can even go to the extent of saying, hey, you know what? Because you have pet, in the event when you have to leave, we will recommend A, B, and C. We want
steam cleaning and some sort of issues like that.
Right. You want that the ductwork clean and all those things. So you can stipulate that and put an additional cost for this.
And you know what? That's very reasonable because people will understand there's going to be additional hairs. There's going to be maybe soiled carpet areas. So that's important.
Right. So it's important to stipulate that as well. Right. And also what's important is to get in that lease that we have here and come to pets, that they hold you as the landlord harmless in the event something happened.
Oh.
What happened if you got a pit bull, you're the tenant, you got a pit bull and it bit someone or someone got injured really, really bad.
I can see that being a big issue.
They decide to sue. Who you think they will sue? The tenant?
They'll sue
the landlord.
Yes.
So you want to get that in your lease.
A little bit of a protection there for you.
Right, saying that in the event of something like this happen, then they hold you harmless.
Definitely. That's important.
Yeah, so that's how we handle a pets issue. Right? We got many more things to cover, and we got less time. So here, let's take a quick break, and then we'll get back and cover all the other nice things, what to get in
a lease document.
This holiday season, be sure to pick up your copy of the Toronto Caribbean newspaper and check out all the specials from local businesses right here in our community. Help build a bigger, better, and stronger community with your support. Happy holidays from the Toronto Caribbean newspaper. Available at your favorite Caribbean location or online at torontocaribbean.com.
Welcome back, guys. And this is Let's Talk Real Estate with Jay Bridgeball and Amit Kanhai. What we've been doing for the last few segments is just reviewing all of the nitty-gritty inside of a lease, all the things that you may or may not know, and things that are important to understand. So right now, we're just going to be talking about some of the finer points, Jay.
Yes, and now the deposit that you collect from the tenant. Do you think it's illegal to to take your first and last month rent and take rent for damage deposit?
Well, you see, everyone always says it's first and last, and there's always a gray area. It really depends on what the landlord asks. So tell us, Jay.
Well, what it is more important here, yeah. In the States, damage deposit is okay.
Yep.
In Canada, it's not okay. But there is no reason why you can't say, hey, I want first and 2 last month rent.
Oh.
Right?
And how does that work then?
Well, really what they will do, they can give you a first month and give you 2 last month rent at the beginning. They're not your tenant at this point, but you can stipulate that in the agreement. Okay? Now, what will happen though, make sure that the interest every year, the interest that accumulated must be paid to the tenant back.
Oh, because they've given you this money up front.
Right. And usually the interest is being set by the landlord and tenant board.
Right.
And I find that it's about the same as that what you are allowed to increase the rent every year by.
So they base it sort of on inflation, and then they kind of change that number every year.
Right. That number is changed every year. You make sure if you want to give your tenant an increase, there is a prescribed form. You can go on the landlord and tenant board.
Right.
They have all the forms there. And read up on it. It's a great area to educate yourself on.
Definitely. Well, that's
right?
good.
And it will tell you everything in detail. Make sure anything to do with landlord and tenant, use the prescribed form.
Ah, yes. And you know what, Jay? It's we can at least tell some of our viewers. You know, even you and I have made some mistakes in the past, in the very early times. If you don't deliver those notices exactly on the time that are set out for, the entire thing becomes null and void.
It's very important that you brought that up. I could remember I had to evict one tenant, and they did. You have to give them 14 days notice that they did not pay their rent on time. Happened so I calculate the day I give it to them, and the board says no, the day didn't start. They started the day after. They didn't caught it after 14 days. After 3 months, when we go to the final trial,
right,
the judge looks through everything and says, hey guys, you guys got to start over. Your first initial step was wrong.
Oh my goodness.
Right? So I learned the hard way. I prefer to give it said 14 days. I prefer to give you 16 days.
Right. And when you think about it, it does make sense, because if you're signing this on, Friday the 13th or the 12th, whatever date it is, you're giving it to them. The person technically doesn't have that full date to review the document.
So it starts the next day.
Got you.
So give them that extra time.
Technicalities.
Technicalities can really mess you up as landlord. Yeah. Right. What's important as well, tenants, if a tenant constantly pay late.
Yes, I was going to ask you that now.
What's important is also to still give them the form that, hey, you know what, you're paying us late, your lease has been terminated. They might pay you in a week or 2 weeks, but by giving them that form and keeping a copy of it, later on, if it's consistent, you can evict them based on the grounds of continuously paying you late.
So, even if the tenant says, well, hey, I'll have this money to you on Friday, you can say, yes, that's fine, and you just let them know, well, based on the books and how we run this business, this is our business, we would like to give you the notice saying your rent has been late. And then if you have 3, 4, 5, 6 of those, I guess it becomes a stronger case for you if you ever need to evict that tenant.
Well, I'll show you where the wisdom come in, Amit. You can take a tenant all the way up and say, hey, you know what, I'm evicting you based on the grounds that you're not paying your rent. Come to the final day, the eviction day, the tenant gave you all their money. Everything is back to normal, you're evicting day one.
Right.
But when you got to get rid of that tenant, if you can evict them based on 2 grounds. One, failure to pay rent, and 2, failure to pay rent on time. So although they pay you up all their rent at the end, after you go through that whole 5 months process, they decide to pay your rent, you can still evict them on the grounds of constant late payment.
And you know what? It's good if you have all these documents in line and in order. So that's a good point.
Right. So
now, are there any other fees associated with late rent payments, Jay? Because in some situations, I'll give you an example. The landlord or the tenant writes a check, and then the check bounces. You as the landlord, you're most likely going to get charged $750 or $1250, whatever it is your bank charges for you depositing a bounce check.
Well, not that alone. To think about the inconvenience, right? Now you have to go and get a new check. You got to go to the bank. You got to do it. Or if you are paying someone to do it, their time is not free. So you can put something that's reasonable as an administrative cost for that headache.
I've seen typically $45 somewhere in that range.
Some people put $100, right? And they will say, hey, you know what? In the event you give me checks that are dishonored, this will be administrative fee.
Right, and it's also on the same token, the bank will then also charge the tenant in that situation, so they're going to get it on both ends.
Right, both ends. Well, what I tend to do most of the time with good tenants, I don't enforce.
Well, you know what, Jay? It's nice that these things are outlined in the lease, and then you as a landlord say, no, you've been a great tenant, and you're just going on through a hard time. I'm going to give you the form, but we're not going to charge you the fee.
Right. That's a good way to go, because you want to maintain a good relationship, and they feel good about it as well, right? And that's important to help them along those lines.
Right.
In the first place, they haven't got money. That's why they...
Exactly.
Right.
So you don't want to get...
and then now you're putting more pressure on them
right.
In that way. So you got to see with your tenants. Remember, this is a long-term business. You're doing it because of long-term. Right? You're renting your basement. The tenant default a little bit. See with them a little bit. Work along those lines. But most important, get everything documented in your lease. Give them these things on time. Read through the lease in all details.
Yep.
Make sure that the tenants who are there are your tenants. Any other person...
Tenants versus occupants, right.
Make sure that's important. Even someone come in within a month or 2 months to live there, and, not much you can do, but you may want to still get a form that tell them, hey, you are here.
New occupant.
You are an occupant as well, and take it from there.
Because these things are all the responsibility of the landlord. And, a police or a firefighter, they're going to look at you and say, well, this is your property. You don't know who's living in there?
Definitely. So that's why that's just very, very important to put that in your lease. Right? And remember, if you are doing a rent increase, usually it's 90 days. It can be enforced within 90 days. So you give them the notice today.
Right.
It's not until 90 days you can really increase it. So make sure you give them on time, right? And what happens if you prepare a lease, right, and you give it to the tenant after that lease expires? If you don't have a new lease signed up, the law will deem that the original lease you had in place, what's in there counts.
Oh, so even if you've verbally had a conversation about maybe a $25 increase, the original lease will be the one that's in place.
Well, definitely, the terms of the original lease are in place, right?
So it's always important to re-sign that.
It's good to re-sign, but if you don't re-sign, then all the contents of this lease is there. The price you've already given the price change. That's okay, but the content and everything else is the same. So they automatically fall in month-to-month tenancy, but the lease, the terms of the lease still exist.
Right. So these things are very important.
Many realtors I find out there just prepare an offer to lease.
Right.
And they put a clause in there saying that this offers to lease in the event of an absence of a lease becomes the lease. I encourage everyone to look above and beyond that, because an actual lease agreement have a lot more things in it.
And well, Jay, it's not just down to that. You're protecting both the landlord and the tenant.
Yes.
Everything is plain and written up front.
Right, and it's simple language. It's designed that way for a purpose, right? So that both parties can read it and understand. So in addition to an offer to lease, it's always good to get the lease.
All right, good stuff.
Now, before we close, on January the 20th, we are having this amazing workshop.
Oh, yes.
And usually we get sometimes 30, 40, 50 people. It's all full.
I can imagine it's going to be a full house.
Yeah, some of the topics we want to cover then is really about market trends.
Right.
Right? We talk more about stress tests. We'll discuss, everyone will have a copy of our lease that we are using.
Yes.
Right? We have a workbook that they'll be able to work through different areas.
Definitely, it's going to be a fun-filled, very much educational session, and we'll be providing a little bit of snacks and whatnot. So definitely hope to see you guys there. Again, the date is.
Yeah, the date is the 20th. It's from 1 to 4. It's Saturday 20th from 1 to 4.
Yeah.
We encourage you to sign up. You can go and youhaveapiggybank.ca and sign up to come to this event.
Yeah.
Right? It's very educational. The whole idea is that the more educated you become in this area, you can make better financial decisions for yourself and your
Definitely.
family. Right? See you in the new year. Happy New Year, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Hello, my name is Anisha, and I'm the production manager of TCN Network. Have you ever wanted to host your own show? Do you have a message to share? Well, you're in luck. We are looking for dynamic and unique individuals to host their own shows. We are seeking people who are committed, motivated, and energetic. Do you want to be the next Jimmy Fallon, Ellen DeGeneres, or Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed Unsolved? Start here. Fill out the Propose a Show form on mytcntv.com. We're here to educate, support, and build the community. Can you lead by example? Go the extra mile and seek knowledge? Are you humble, disciplined, responsible, selfless, and enthusiastic? Those are our core values. And if you identify with them, you could be part of a growing network that focuses on positivity and uplifting our community. We can't wait for you to join us on TCN Network and hope to hear from you soon.
My name is Alyssa Mahadeo, journalist and community reporter, and I dedicate my time to searching for the stories that matter the most. Positive, uplifting, and inspiring stories that spotlight the challenges and obstacles we conquer to become the people who we are today. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of all the fairy tale lifestyles that people seem to be living on social media. Girl, you did not wake up like that. I'm interested in the genuine connections, the honest opinions, and the real uncut version of your true self. This show is about keeping it 100% real, deconstructing who we are and what we're all about. Join me as we sit down with individuals to discuss the personal struggles, the many challenges, and the moments that define us on this journey of self-discovery. Let's be real, life isn't fair and people make mistakes, but every opportunity is a learning experience. Let's discover the truth together right here on Real Talk. Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Real Talk. I am your host, Alyssa Mahadeo, and as you can see behind the scenes, things go on. It's okay. This is how we keep it real here every Friday from 1 to 2 p.m. So guys, thank you again for tuning into the show. Today we have an exciting show. I'm actually really excited about this show. I've wanted to do it ever since I spoke to our wonderful guest. And today we are actually talking about something that I've myself been really curious about, and that is dreadlocks. So you guys are probably wondering, what does this girl know about dreadlocks? She doesn't know anything. This Indian girl from no, I'm from Canada, guys, but my parents are from Trinidad. But I mean, I know a lot of people with dreads. I have friends with dreads. I've always been curious about dreads. It's a hairstyle that I'm like, what's going on there? It's like her
It's
hair
very
is full of
fascinating.
secrets. Right? So today on the show, I am so happy to introduce Miss Naya. Is it Naya?
Yep, Miss Naya, that would be me.
Miss Naya, the owner and founder of a steam-based lock cleaning company called Clean Locks. So I had the honor of, how did I connect with you? I forget. I think
I
you
connected
with
with you
us,
first, yeah.
Right? So Miss Naya actually reached out to us, and she had, pitched me on her business, told me a little bit about Clean Locks, and I was like, this sounds interesting. I never thought about having to clean your dreadlocks.
This is why we have Clean Locks, because a lot of people were not thinking about that, and I found that absolutely... I was just really perplexed by that. I couldn't... It just seemed like such an obvious thing, like to be overlooked. So, yeah, I was like, someone needs to do something about it.
I didn't think about it because I've always heard about dreadlocks that you don't really need to clean them. They're very low maintenance.
Yeah.
It's a very low maintenance hairstyle that people have. So I'm like, I would hear about having to wash your dreads, but again, I didn't understand that concept either because I'm like, how are you gonna wash that? Like, do you use shampoo and conditioner like regular? Because I'm like, I feel like washing my own hair, and my hair is not that much, is it's a chore.
Yeah.
Right? So, like, to think about having to wash dreads now, I'm like, that seems like a whole day thing.
It doesn't have to be a whole day thing. Sometimes it is for some people. But you're absolutely right. A lot of people have that misconception that you're not supposed to wash locks. So I'm big on analogies. So, I'll ask my clients, some really ridiculous questions sometimes just to point out the obvious. So, I'll ask someone, would you have a shower every day and only wash your crotch once a month?
Oh God.
No.
That sounds dirty.
Right? And then they're like, it just puts it into perspective. Like, why would you do that to your hair?
Yeah.
Especially when people already have this notion that locks collect dirt, holds on to smells and dust, and people think that you get mold. And so if people already think those things, why would you not be inclined to want to clean it or keep it clean?
Exactly. Your own hair, just regular natural hair does the same thing. Your hair picks up the scent of outside.
Yep.
If you've ever gone home to your house, your house has a different scent. So when you go and now you smell your hair smells like outside or everything that you've been in for that day.
Right.
So
We've all sat next to that lady in church that smelled like Sunday breakfast.
Or she smells like curry. You know what I mean? And you're just like, guy, do you wash your hair? But again, these are very important things that I think, especially our Caribbean community, is good to address. And also as well, I'm doing some research because that's important. Doing some research on dreadlocks and people who have had dreads in the past, I've learned a lot actually about the origin and how this kind of hairstyle kind of came to be. And also, on that journey I learned that it comes from a lot of different cultures. So it's been around.
Let's play a game. You go first. What do you know?
What do I know?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is what I know about dreads. So I found actually that dreads have originated in India. The Hindu culture, monks, sadhus, and everything they used to dread their hair. Also, it was something that kind of came from Egypt as well. Mummies and pharaohs, are when they're dug up in the archaeological finds, they actually still have their dreads and they're still intact as well, which is really cool. Vikings in Europe used to have dreads.
Yep.
And then also again the Rastafarian movement also had dreads. But the most interesting thing I actually found about dreadlocks was that the belief that dreadlocks give people power.
Yes.
So
this kind of, just like how locks are seen in many different cultures, that theme goes across many different cultures. And it's interesting for myself as well, because as I had mentioned when we spoke initially, that I'm mixed up with pretty much everything on the planet. One of the things that I also have is some native ancestry, and both more so, I'm not going to say that it's in the Rasta culture only, but it's very prevalent in the Rasta culture.
They're the ones that kind of brought it more mainstream, which is why
they made
more
it
people
popular.
know it. Yeah.
But in terms of the cutting of not cutting your hair, for me personally, it's very interesting because on both sides of my family, my dad is Jamaican and then my native side is on my mom's side, and both of those have folklore or history behind the importance of keeping your hair.
Yeah.
So most times Rastas will go to the Bible and they'll go to Samson and they'll tell that story, and then for natives there's a story about how basically some white people came and put us in a forest, and they left us there and was like, all right, when the enemy came to attack, we woke up immediately and we were like, bad, everything gone. And then when they cut our hair, everybody died because we didn't have our sixth sense anymore. And, you know, we lost that about us.
Yeah.
And kind of like further to that, people often argue like whether or not hair is an extension of your nervous system, because I'm sure that you probably came across that knowledge when you were looking up as well.
Yes.
And basically all it is that the part of your hair that's inside of your scalp is alive. The parts that's on the outside is dead.
Yeah.
Right? So I personally still believe that, yes, it is an extension, because if you look at things like if you get scared, your hair stands on end, right?
Yeah.
And the only reason that if it was dead only, then it wouldn't be able to have any kind of an action or reaction, right?
Exactly.
So the fact that it's still connected to your nervous system is why that stuff happens.
Mm-hmm. So in that same thing, it's basically people believe that energy, so like your life force energy, your chi, your prana, your ki, they exit the body through the top of the head, and that having knotted hair or locked hair, it prevents the escape of this energy, making one stronger and even potentially allowing people to have like kind of a supernatural characteristics, which is why like mental and physical abilities as well, which is why also in a lot of cultures the shaman or the witch doctor will have locked hair.
Yep, absolutely. Pretty much in all of the cultures across the board, like to put it in a nutshell, the closer you are to God, the longer your hair is.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah.
The Rastafarian movement, kind of, well, even not even going into the Rastafarian movement yet, but even talking about how the dreadlocked hairstyle went mainstream, was obviously because of Bob Marley and his own teachings, his learnings and things that he used to share with the world. But also, it was very cool. And I think that's kind of what people are drawn to.
I think a lot of people really just find it fascinating, and people are drawn in by the unknown, right? And it's almost kind of like a real life mysticism, you know, where other forms of mysticism are you can only read about it or hear it through, you know, oration or whatever.
Yeah.
But here is like an actual person, you know, with this magical hair.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting to see the different types of reactions that you'll get from different types of people pertaining to your hair.
Yeah.
Like, actually, just the other day, I was in the subway, and this woman made a comment about my hair, and we started chatting. And we talked about everything from my hair to, like, what people think about the holidays to, you know, like, we just had a really, really great conversation. It lasted, like, all of, like, 5 subway stops. But you can really tell the difference between people who are genuinely interested and people who are just there for the ridicule. You know, so it's even myself being like mixed race, when I started my locks, a lot of people didn't even know what was going on. They're like, is that braids? Are you twisting it? Is it, are they curls?
Like
yeah, why does your hair look like that? Did you do it on purpose?
Did you not brush your hair for a couple days?
Did you not brush your hair? What's going on?
Yeah.
So for me personally, I just decided I was just going to cover it up. So I just wore tam for like 3 months, and then I just took it off and had locks.
Yeah.
And deal with it.
So why, before we're going to go to break in a few minutes, but why did you make the decision to even lock your hair? And what inspired it?
I actually wanted to lock my hair when I was in high school, and I lived with my Jamaican granny.
No, sir.
So then when I was like probably about somewhere between like 18 and 21, I decided, I'm going to do this. But then I was like really vain, and I was like, I can't just be this stationary because I'm a hot girl.
Yeah.
And then I went through like, you know, a bunch of stuff in life, and I decided that I needed to like do a lot of like mental clearing out and just clearing out in general. Like I started to really think about the difference between wants and needs. And I was putting more focus on the needs at that time, or on the wants, and I wanted to put more focus on the needs. So when people would ask me, what do you think about, you know, like, what's your favorite thing about yourself? I would always say my hair. So I figured if I could kind of step away from my identity being my hair, that it would speak more about like my character as a person. So that's what kind of led me there. And that's why when I was doing my research, a lot of people are surprised that it wasn't Rasta that drew me in. like I was mentioning earlier, it was actually the Indian culture that drew me in, because the reasons for why they grew their hair seemed to be more in line with the path that I was kind of trying to take.
And I like that you mentioned why. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to continue this really interesting conversation, guys. So.
When you know your purpose, you know your function, because the function dictates the purpose. It's not talking about what color this thing is. Life is about a function. And only when you function do you see purpose. This is where we live, just here. What we think. We miss the human when we just focus on the black of the hand or the white of the palm. But my goal in life is to get people to understand their function. Let them feel their love. Let them know you. Let them know your struggle. So when we talk about community, it's talking about coming together, unity.
Are you retiring smart? Make your home's equity work for you. With your home's equity and our 30 years of experience, the Retire Smart Properties team can help you achieve the quality of life you've always wanted. Our services are 360 degrees. We'll give you advice, take care of staging and selling, and help you find the perfect home and community to transition to. It's time to enjoy the retirement lifestyle you deserve. Visit our website today to learn how you can use your home to retire comfortably. The Retire Smart Properties team, powered by RE/MAX West.
We'll continue this conversation. Hey guys, we're back. Jordan, you can't just be like putting me back in like that so quickly.
And dropping knowledge at the same time.
Anyways, no, it's fine. It's fine. So we are here today on Real Talk, and we are talking about dreadlocks. Again, I feel like I'm kind of a little bit unprepared for this because I know what I want to talk about, and I know like all the things that I find interesting, but because I'm also trying to keep it, again, like a natural conversation that I would have talking about dreadlocks with my friends. Like I have friends who have their dread, but like I always felt that it was rude to ask someone why their hair was dreaded.
Really? Why?
Because I'm like, that's a choice that they made to do, especially if again this is gonna sound really bad, but like if they weren't black, I didn't understand why your hair was dreaded.
That's fair. A lot of people feel that way. I get people who write me in, like people who are not black, who will write me in and ask me if it's okay.
Like, is that cultural appropriation? And I actually did a whole show on cultural appropriation, so that's a whole other thing.
I had actually posted maybe about a year and a half ago now this article by this white woman where she was speaking about how did it go? It was like she was speaking about her experience as a white person going to like heavily melanated countries and helping, and how North America's idea of what she's actually doing there is nothing like what's actually happening. And through that, she decided that she wanted to lock her hair. And she apparently is, a worldly woman, so she knows people from different backgrounds. And like her black people were like, nah, girl. Right? So then she actually gave it some thought. And so I published this article, and then this woman, that she's white, she wrote me in and she's like, what do you think? She's like, I saw this article. And for me personally, I feel like I can give you all of the reasons why I may not agree with it. And I can give you like, all of the history that we know about it. We can give you all of the information about why appropriation is not cool, what appropriation actually is. If after you know all of that, you still want to do that, what am I going to do about it?
Well, that's the thing, and I feel with...
I'm just here to educate.
With the appropriation, too, I think it's better... It's best that if someone asks you, why is your hair dreaded, you can explain to them even why, or what kind of inspired you. And I think to be inspired by someone else's culture, to want to adapt, the features of someone with those beliefs, because it resonates within you, like you said, a lot of the Hindu faith values, and that's why you decided you were going to dread your hair.
So, in saying that, what were some of the things that kind of drew you to dread your hair?
Honestly, it was just like a lack of focus on it.
Okay.
Like, you don't understand. Like, I would get up at 6 o'clock in the morning to like press out my hair, and I'm just going to like do groceries.
Whereas just fling it up in a bun and go, yeah.
Right? Like, I wouldn't leave the house unless my hair was did, you know? And like, I'm talking like, I don't do a hairstyle for the week. Like, every day, a different hairstyle. Like, it's extreme from like one day it's like flat iron.
That's some dedication, because I don't even have that kind of discipline.
And like, I have pretty, like, my hair's curly, so it's not like I don't have the wash and go hair as you know, one would think.
Yeah.
And yeah, like, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
You know, and even to the point like teachers used to make comments on it. You know, like, it was a thing in school. Teachers were like, you know, if you spent more time on your work than your hair.
They would tell you that?
Yeah.
What?
You know, or even when my friends are like, you know, we're going to go out and do something or whatever. And they're like, they'll be like, how are you doing your hair?
My
and then I tell them, and they'll be like, okay, so make sure that you like start getting ready now. So,
oh my goodness. So yeah, they would cater to the fact that you're going to take 5 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, just getting over that, like, it was literally like, now that I'm talking about it and I'm thinking back on it, it was literally like an obsession.
Yeah.
You know, so
you wanted to disregard that. So,
yeah.
And I was telling you, actually, like, I had found this online when you had told me about it, about wanting to focus more on your needs instead of wants. I had actually found, looking into more research, that people from different faiths look at their hair to be very holy. And again, we hold our hair in high regard. It's one of our most prominent features. And it's a form, again, of strength and power. And then the other thing is, to not comb your hair to some is a disregard of vanity and things in the world, which I thought was really cool, because I think personally, I think dreads are beautiful, right? So for them to say, well, I'm disregarding my vanity by dreading my hair, in the same sense, you're also making your hair more beautiful.
I don't know. I don't think I would read it as like complete disregard. Maybe just less regard, you know, because I get a lot of people as well who will be concerned that, you know, make sure my hair looks like super neat and perfect because, you know, I work on Bay Street, right? Or I'm a lawyer.
When they come in to get their locks clean,
right?
Okay.
And I mean, when I started my locks, which is the point at which you're the most awkward, I was working on Bay Street. I was a headhunter for real estate and finance. Like, you couldn't get any more corporate than that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that was actually the one and only time that I ever had anyone bring up any issue with my hair. And the end result, when the guy brought it up, he was like, because I started as a secretary, and then I became like an intermediate kind of hybrid job, and then I became an account manager. So now I'm bringing in clients.
Yeah.
And he's like, you know, you can't be bringing in clients and like, you know, your hair looks like this. And he's trying to tell me that I should cover it up and all this kind of stuff. And he was like, you know, they're just going to think you're some little dreadlock Jamaican girl. And then that was the part that kind of like really offended me. And I was like, well, I am a dreadlock Jamaican girl. So if you don't want to work with people simply based on the fact that they don't want to work with you because of my appearance, like, maybe you should reconsider the types of people that you want to be working with.
Yeah.
You know, and he was a gay Indian guy. And I'm like, of all people, like, you should be more open to like understanding, you know, discrimination. I was like, what if someone told your dad to cut his beard?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's just like the way Sikh people keep their hair
and
long
he
as
was
well.
like, well, you told me you're an atheist.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's still a belief system.
Yeah.
That's still my belief.
Yeah.
And my hair goes with my belief.
Yeah.
You know, and how I carry myself. So later that day, I got a call at like, he's like, make sure you come into the office at like 8 o'clock, and we don't open till 10. So I was like, okay, I lost my job today.
Yeah.
And he actually apologized.
Okay.
And he was like, you know what? When I started this firm, the main reason why I did it was to create opportunities for minorities and people who were being overlooked, and for me to take that stance would go completely against, you know, the whole reason why I started.
It's true. Actually, that probably allowed him to do some introspection into
exactly,
himself.
Right? So he was almost like, you know, thank you for standing up for yourself, you know. And I also told him, like, covering it up isn't going to make no difference because I'm beige.
Yeah.
And like, when I was at the airport and I was going to Jamaica a lot, I was like, they were giving me a hard time. I'm like, oh, they think I'm a mule. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to cover up my locks this time, right?
Yeah.
So I cover up my locks. They're like, excuse me, ma'am, can I check your scarf? Now they think I'm a terrorist. They're like, can you take off your shoes? So like, it doesn't matter what people are going to make an assumption regardless.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So we just have to make sure that we stand firm
Mhm.
in what our beliefs are, because most times when people do try to challenge you, most times it's like when you apply for a job, they're looking for the best, but that doesn't mean they're going to get it.
Yep.
You know, so they challenge you thinking that, you know, they might overturn you, but in actuality, you know, if you stand firm, you'll probably, you know, get closer to what it is that you want than having to give in.
Yeah. So
I see your wheels turning.
I know. I'm trying to think about how I would phrase the question too. So it was a spiritual. Would you say it was a spiritual commitment to you?
I think it
yourself?
became spiritual.
Okay.
Yeah. At first, it was really just about trying to make some kind of a change, and I think I lacked spirituality.
Okay.
And
That's
that was
interesting that you say that, yeah.
the route that I chose to try and accomplish that.
So how did your life change after you dread your hair then? Did it?
Well, I instantly became an empress, like, the next day. Like, I'm walking down the street and people are hailing me and I'm like, oh yeah, that's me, hey!
Yeah.
People do kind of treat you a little bit differently, which I find really hilarious. You have to kind of, like, combat a lot of stereotypes that people will throw at you. And I don't think that they do it to be disrespectful. In fact, I think it's the opposite. I think they try to hone in on what way they can relate to you, so as not to offend, which I think is refreshing, because I think outside of that, people don't consider, you know, whether or not they're going to offend you. Or
And it's funny that you say that, because 2 years ago when I went to Jamaica, it was the same thing. I'm from West Indian background, so I mean, I probably look like some Jamaican people when you go there, because again, they're all mixed with all kinds of different things.
It's like Toronto but hot.
Exactly. But when I went to, they were very, 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 very respectful people. When it came to complimenting you, especially, like the way that the way they would deliver a compliment.
Jamaicans are unique in that fashion.
The way they would deliver a compliment, you would feel like, oh, okay.
Tell me the best one you heard.
Some guy called me a princess. He called me a princess, but the way he said it and the way he even described, he's like, I see you, princess, there with the fair golden skin.
Right?
And I'm like, boy.
I love it. Let me tell you, any woman, if you ever have self-esteem issues, just go to Jamaica. They love everybody. It doesn't matter. They love women, period.
Yeah, they do. And just the way they deliver you would be like, I heard this joke the other day where some Jamaican man was like, girl, I like your structure. Like, you know what I mean?
My mom was like my size. Today's her birthday. Happy birthday, Mom. So today, she used to be like my size, and like, you know, she had 5 kids. Like, now she's bigger, right? So she like ran into this guy that she hadn't seen in a long time, this Jamaican guy. And he's like, oh, Venus, I haven't seen you in such a long time. What a way you get plenty. I was like, that was just so good. Like, so tasteful.
Yeah, which is so interesting. And then even to hear like this is how people were regarding you now, that, you know, your hair was dreaded.
Yeah, like people, they took a little bit more care in their approach, I think, as opposed to when you're not. I mean, now that I'm thinking about it, even like in terms of like, you know, summertime catcalling and things like that, if I really think about it, I don't think that I get catcalled nearly as much.
That's really interesting.
As I used to.
Say that.
Yeah.
So we are going to take another quick break. Time is just flying by here, as it does, but we'll be right back.
Think you have what it takes to bring value to the community? The TCN TV network is expanding and now accepting TV show proposals. Here's an opportunity to build celebrity status and become part of an elite group of community advocates that are focused on building, strengthening, and empowering our community in a positive way. Are you interested in embarking on a new adventure? TCN TV is searching for people interested in opportunities to change the conversation and pave an unforgettable legacy. If you feel you have something of value to offer, send a written show proposal to shows@mytcntv.com.
Welcome back. You are watching Real Talk, and I am your host, Alyssa Mahadeo. Today on the show, we're totally keeping it real, and we are talking about something, again, that I think is a really interesting subject to talk about, is dreadlocks. So locking your hair, hairstyling it, and, you know, just all of the things that kind of comes with having dreads, especially as someone who has dreaded their hair. So I have Miss Naya here from Clean Locks, lock cleaning service. And I did want to talk a little bit about what she does, because that is very important. That's actually the entire purpose of the show. So Miss Naya, please tell everyone how you kind of got started cleaning locks.
Out of necessity, I needed to supplement my income. So I was like, what? I've always been very industrious and like entrepreneurial and doing my own thing. So I was like, what can I do, you know, that I haven't done, that I can make some money? And so I started washing hair in my bathtub. Sorry. And it actually all happened very organically. Once I kind of like, people started telling me that I kind of had something here. They're like, you know, I've never seen anyone do this. Even when I would approach people on the street, like they would really look at me like I'm crazy. They're like, you want how much money to just wash my hair?
You want to clean my hair? Why?
Right. That too. They're like, you're just going to wash it?
Yeah.
And they're like, but what about the twisting? And I'm like, that's cool. I'm like, I'm sure you got a lady that, you know, does that. I won't be mad. Go back to her. I just want to clean it. You know, you'll feel so much better. And so I was using that as a way to supplement my income when I was going to school. And also to run away from a really bad boyfriend. And when I had to leave the apartment that I was in and move downtown, that's when things kind of just set into motion. I kind of just gave in to the idea a little bit more. I started to see the vision a little bit more. And I was actually just really flabbergasted that no one had ever thought about cleaning locks before, when it's like the number one thing that people complain about.
Yeah.
You know, like when I was doing the research to like, you know, make sure we're not stepping on any toes, I'm like, I can't be this smart. Like no one's done this yet.
Yeah.
And no one had done it. I think I found like one lady who was doing something similar, and she was in the United States, and she really didn't have a lot of her information like open to the public. I feel like I've over the years like shared a lot of my techniques and my ideas and thoughts around cleaning locks and stuff. I mean, even I wish I could do like a screen capture from like 10 years ago, because when I did the Google search for cleaning services or just cleaning in general, how to clean all these things, the only thing that I could find was an ACV rinse. And I personally haven't found that to be the best.
I don't know that it would be, like, just knowing what...
Well, I mean, I think the biggest mistake that people make with their locks is they try to treat it like their hair was before it was locked. Right? And those principles are great for when your hair is loose, but they don't apply, you know, when your hair is locked, and then that causes a lot of confusion.
Because your hair is a lot thicker. It's all of your hair kind of wrapped together.
It's literally a bunch of knots.
It's like if you had your hair in a ponytail and you decide, or like a braid, and you decided you were going to wash it.
Yeah. You know, or like I tell people, if you think of like, if you like spilt like ketchup on your shoelace, how would you get that out? Right? You can't just run it under the water like you would,
and think you got all the ketchup out,
right?
Because it's going to get into the fibers,
exactly,
and into the seeds
exactly. So
like
it requires, you know, more work. But because there's also not a lot of consistent information, because there's lots of information, but there's not a lot of consistent information surrounding locks. It forces people, you know, they go to YouTube, they go to their friends, they go to the hairdresser, and I can guarantee you, myself included, if you ask 5 locticians, like, what's the best way for you to do any particular thing, they're going to give you 5 different answers.
Yeah.
Right? And that's also part of the reason why I decided to not do other things and only do locks, because I felt that it was necessary for someone to kind of be a specialist. And I don't know, I was just always of the thought that, you know, do something really, really well. You know, I was raised that way. One thing at a time, you know, I don't know, we had some stupid nursery rhyme, but just do one thing at a time and you'll do it right. Yeah. So I figured by focusing on just doing locks, I would learn everything that I could possibly know about locks. Like,
I think it's funny that you even say that you're like, I couldn't have been the smartest person, because
I really thought that though.
But you know what's funny? It's the fact that there's so many negative connotations behind locks. There's so many things that people are like, they're dirty, they smell, they this, that, and the next. But then why is no one proactively trying to solve that problem if it's such a big
Girl,
deal?
There's all kinds of cover-ups for it. Like I'd say in the first 2 years of me starting doing the lock washing, that's when I made like the most discovery of like what people were doing. Like I remember one time washing this lady's hair, and the soap suds are coming like gray. So often it's because people are putting stuff in their hair. So I'm like, what are you putting in your hair? And she's like, nothing. And I'm like, okay, like I don't know what it is, but it's gray. And she goes, gray? Oh, it must be the Sharpie.
Sharpie?
Right? That's what I said. Girl, she was coloring the lint so that you couldn't see it. I was like, is this real life? And then I thought it was just her. And like 2 days later, another person was in the chair and the exact same thing. And I was like, oh my God, this is like an epidemic. People are dyeing their dirt.
They're dyeing their dirt. Oh no.
Yeah. And then, yeah, it's like crazy, like the amount of thing, or the fact that people don't know that there's dirt in their hair. It's one of those things like, this table is black, so we don't know how dirty it is because we can't see the dirt.
Yeah.
Right? And then people just kind of run with that. It's low maintenance, people, not no maintenance.
And I think that's probably where a lot of the stigma drives from. Like, because again, I thought so before that if you had dreads in your hair, you didn't need to wash it.
I think that we drive the stigma as well.
Yeah.
And the way that we drive the stigma is because it's an uncomfortable conversation to have, because we don't have the answers ourselves. We don't want to have that conversation with somebody.
Makes
so
sense.
someone lady comes and asks me about my hair, she's like, yeah, I wash it. Right?
Yeah.
Or we tell them some nonsense.
Yeah.
Or we don't say anything.
Yeah.
And that, in a way, perpetuates that negative stereotype. So that's why it was really important for me to, like, get to the bottom of, like, where all this crap is coming from in people's hair, why it's there, how to stop it. Like, all of that became really important because I felt that, like we were saying earlier, once you know something, people can't take that from you.
Yeah.
And the reason why it's perpetuating is because we don't know.
Yeah.
So if we have knowledge and someone asks us, now, like, my clients are, like, hella, like, proud. Like, they're flashing their hair all over the place.
They're like, look at my hair, it's clean.
Yeah, like, people ask them about their hair. They're proud to tell them, like, they're happy to answer questions. Whereas a lot of people, when, you're asked questions about your locks, you're just like, why are you talking to me?
And I think that's where even my fear kind of came from. It was like I didn't want to ask people about their locked hair because I'm like, they probably get questions all the time. They probably don't want to hear from me. They're probably like, oh, this girl's asking me about my hair again, right?
And it's usually we'll have that that outlook because we don't know what the intent is behind the person that's really asking, and we're so used to having to field the bullshit that it becomes like a protective wall. Like, is this person really concerned about or interested in my hair and why my deep spirituality, or they just want to like prove a point to their friend that I don't wash it?
Yeah. No, it's true. Like, I mean, even again, this entire thing. So tell us about, so you do a detailing service, right? And what is that kind of process?
Without getting into too much detail, that was so bad. I use a tool, a modified tool, to go deep inside the locks and pick out essentially all of the deeply embedded gunk and lint and stuff that gets tangled up there without actually unraveling all of the locks and keeping the locks intact.
That sounds tedious.
It is. And I would say that 80% of my job is patience, and 10% is technique, and then the other 10% is just because I actually like what I do.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you deal with dreads in different kinds of sizes as well, right?
Yeah, everything from like sister locks all the way up to, like, I've had a client who had like 7 locks and they were like this big.
Oh.
Yeah.
How do you even get
And you know what? I'm glad that you made that face because I like telling this story because this guy was married to this woman and she had really, really fine locks, really, really long past her hips. And his locks were probably about to his hips as well. And people always thought that his locks were going to be dirtier. And when I did the wash, her locks were filthy and his were like almost didn't even need me.
I believe that. I actually believe that because it's not like the dirt and stuff isn't getting all the way inside of the hair.
Well, it's not even just that. Women are far more fussy about their hair. We put more stuff in it, we touch it more often, we're always doing stuff.
Yeah.
And men pretty much just wash it and that's it. And that's essentially all you have to do when you have locks. Just keep it clean.
Keep your hair clean, guys. Yeah. So we are having some great conversation right now about cleaning your dreadlocks and even maintaining the hair that you have, because again, it's important. You don't want to deal with all that negativity that comes with, again, having dreadlocks. And I think it's important even to mention that you see clients from all different kinds of backgrounds.
Oh yeah.
Right?
All over I have people that fly in from different countries, from different cities. I've got Asian clients, I've got white clients, I've got Spanish clients, I've got black clients, like anybody, you know, like I don't discriminate.
As you shouldn't. So we are going to be wrapping up the conversation when we come back, but we're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Okay, guys?
Discover the incredible India.
Welcome back. You're watching Real Talk, and I'm your host, Alyssa Mahadeo. Today we are talking about dreadlocks, guys. We're having some really great conversation here. Again, I'm learning a lot, and I'm sure, you know, you guys are probably getting some information here about what it means to, you know, maintain and clean your locks, because, again, there's too much negativity out there when it comes to the unkempt nature of locks, and I find that because of that, they kind of get a bad rap, especially in the workplace, out in society, on the red carpet.
Yep. School.
Like, dreadlocks are a hairstyle, and I'm sure, like, this is a question I actually wanted to ask you. With dreadlocks, what can you do with, like, regards to hairstyles, with regards to hair color and things like that?
You can pretty much do anything that you would regularly do with your own hair when it's loose.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like different size locks, different length locks obviously is going to give you, you know, certain limitations or ways that you can do it. But that's the same as if you have short hair or long hair.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people who have, like, super thick hair, you know, will have a different styles than people who have really thin hair. It's exactly the same.
So you can curl locks. Can you curl dreadlocks as well?
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
I sent you a picture of me with curls.
Oh, yes, you did.
Yeah.
You did. And
big, like huge, like...
And are you curling it with a curling iron as well?
No. Actually, I just use, like, you know, like those old lady grandma rollers with the sponge?
Yeah?
Yeah, just that. And believe it or not, all of my locks fit on those little rods. Yeah, but it's... See, this is where Clean Locks comes in, because when your locks are full of, like, lint and gunk and dirt and things like that, it doesn't have the same flexibility, you know, so the curls aren't as buoyant. So when it comes to things like styling, applying color, putting in curls, all of those things become much easier when your locks are clean.
Mm-hmm. So tell us about where you guys are located and what kind of services you offer.
We are downtown at Bathurst and Dundas, just east of Bathurst, across from Toronto Western Hospital. And I'm actually located inside of a storage container. So if you've seen those, like, tiny homes,
I thought that was
kind of
super
things.
cool, actually, when she told me, and I, like, looked you guys up online.
Yeah.
I was like, a storage container?
Yeah. So it's kind of like a tiny home kind of concept. And I'm literally on a metal box on the sidewalk.
That seems very organic.
We have heat. We have water. We have electricity. We have Wi-Fi. We have everything that you would have in a shop. Obviously, there's a little bit of, like, limitation here and there. But people who really know me know that I wouldn't really have it any other way, because I am very much a non-conventional type of person.
Yeah.
And we do, obviously, main focus is the steam-based cleaning, but we do everything. So lock maintenance, retightening, blending your tips, separating, making them bigger, like anything that you can think of for locks we do, styling. We have packages as well to make it easier for people who are trying to like attain a certain level of cleanliness. People like to come for, a lot of people come after breakups to get rid of the negative energy.
The negative energy from my locks, I need to get
Yep.
them out. Yeah, that actually makes
True
sense.
story, when I was with said crappy boyfriend, my hair did not grow for 2 years, and I know this because one of the last things that I did, one of the things that happened like just as we were breaking up and I had to stay like living with him is I put thread on my lock. I put like red, gold, and green, and so I could see like how it's growing, right? As soon as we broke up, my hair grew like 6 inches.
That's insane.
Yeah. So there's that power of the hair.
The power,
right?
the spirituality within
Yeah,
my hair,
my
guys.
nerve endings were just not about that energy. They
Yeah.
were like, cease and desist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. It was like your body was trying not to absorb any more of it
Right? It
because
was
you'd
like,
already
"Nah,
been
girl,
so
this is not for
saturated in
you."
it. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about some of the promotions that you guys offer at
We
because I know you
always
guys-
have
yeah.
promotions at Clean Locks. There's always something going on. Students always save $10. Just bring your student ID. We'll keep that on file. New clients save $10 off their first appointment. If you send me 3 people, your hair's free. And then this month, if you book a steam wash and lock, you get a free bottle of sorrel. And to toot my own horn, my sorrel is actually pretty amazing.
She brought me a bottle.
Yeah. You know what? I think you should taste it on air.
Should I?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do that.
I'm that confident.
You're gonna taste some sorrel. I know that you also have another promotion that you also do with regards to bringing in your old product.
Oh yeah, we have a product exchange program. So a big part of Clean Locks philosophy is not putting stuff into your hair because it's really, really difficult to get it out. So in an effort to encourage people to stop putting stuff in their hair, we have a product exchange program where you can bring in all the products that you're currently or have been using in your locks, and the total value I will tally up, and 25% of that will apply as a credit to your account. And the only catch is that you have to leave the products at the shop. And then the product that's left at the shop, we have that available to the women's shelter that's close by. And the ladies can come and get like shampoo and hair care products that they, otherwise may not have been able to afford.
I think that's
and
a
that's
great idea, yeah.
especially good because usually when people are giving donations, they give white people products.
No, I think that's a great way to, get people to get rid of their stuff because I think, especially with dreads, because there's such an organic hairstyle.
And usually what happens is people try stuff, it doesn't work, and then they just buy more. And because they've spent money on it, they don't want to throw it.
Yeah.
Right? So it just like accumulates. And
because
we have
hair products are expensive.
Yeah. Like the average price, I think, for a bottle of anything that someone has brought in is like $20.
Mm-hmm. So I can't open this.
You can't open it?
No, because I'm not strong enough, apparently.
Oh my goodness. Am I?
I can't open it either. Okay, we'll ask Jordan to open it for us. Here, Jordan, you can open it.
I was like, make sure it doesn't spill.
Sometimes you just need the manpower.
We fail miserably.
If I don't open this now, this is going to be hella funny.
Right?
Oh, so Jordan's struggling. Hopefully he doesn't spill anything. Okay, hopefully he doesn't spill anything. But I did want to ask one more thing before, while we're wrapping up. Where is the future of your company going? Where do you see you going in the future in the next couple of years?
I would like to put more focus on education and move more into that direction. A lot of people have asked about classes, so that will be coming soon. And yeah, that's pretty much like the focus right there. Expanding a little bit to get a man, I don't know what you call them. He's like, is it still a barber? He does beards, 'cause
Yeah,
a lot
I
of
think
guys,
they're still
is it
called
a
barbers.
barber?
Yeah.
So a lot of guys, it's really popular right now for people to have like the undercut, and a lot of guys want to get like a lineup after they've had their locks tightened and stuff. So we're looking to get a barber in for that, and then really just start focusing more on the education side of things. And then what else can I say? Oh, we also have, like, because since the holidays are coming, for anybody who's like an entrepreneur, Clean Locks offers shelf space to artists. You get your first month free. It's really inexpensive. It's anywhere between $25 and $40. So you get your first month to kind of sort out if that's what you want to do. And everything that you sell in the shop, you get to keep all your profits.
Oh, cool. So, like, you allow artists to come bring their paintings and their artwork.
So they can bring in artwork. They can bring in, like, a lady who's done really well is Shireen from Locked and Luscious. She provides lock charms, like hair jewelry. Charms, she, rotates her stuff every month, and, she's been doing really well. She's been there for probably about 4 or 5 months now. And, she's stayed. Another client of mine is a writer, so he's sold a book through there. And the good thing is that people who come to the shop are pretty much like-minded, so whatever you're into, there's guaranteed to be someone else who's going to stop by who's into it too.
And I think it's very important, especially to restate that the education of dreadlocks is very, very important. Learning about the history, learning about why people used to dread their hair, learning about the different cultures, and never condemning anyone for wanting to try the hairstyle. Because that's what I find. Like, I find that because it's such heavily influenced in other cultures. Other cultures, it's kind of frowned upon. They're like, oh, why are you dreading your hair? And I don't like that.
I mean, everyone's gonna have their own personal choice, right? And we're definitely not in the business of discriminating against everybody. My main thing is really the education. So once I've given you the education on locks, or encourage you to do your own research, because I always encourage people to learn on their own. If once you've gathered all of that information, you're still okay with it, then by all means, come on down to Clean Locks.
Let's work together, to eradicate some of this stigma, and to
absolutely. And I welcome, like, come down and ask me questions.
Yeah,
DM me, call.
So you can all of our contact information will be in the link below. Make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe. Even check out the article that I wrote on Clean Locks.
A lot of people, thank you. A lot of people have said that they found the article extremely well written.
I'm glad.
And very, like, informative. My readers have really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm going to try some of this sorrel now, because that's how we're going to take each other. It smells so good, guys. So I think you guys got to head on down to Clean Locks. So thank you guys again for watching. Make sure, again, you subscribe to the channel, and we will be back next week. Real Talk right here, Fridays from 1 to 2 p.m., guys. See you later. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.